Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. We got a big show lined up, but enough fucking around. We're kicking things off. Fifth time on the show, Josh Harrison of Harmonix. Welcome back. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm wondering what I get. Like, is there a punch card or something? Or when I show up enough times, I get a prize or a free sandwich or something?
Give me your address. I'll send you a postcard.
Okay, sure.
Actually, the big milestone is between you and everybody else. This is the 10th appearance of Harmonix on the show.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Dating back to episode 20. So nearly 300 episodes you guys have been coming on the show, and thank you again for coming back.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure.
So how are things? I hear things are kind of busy with Harmonix lately.
Yeah, you might be aware that we are launching a couple games pretty shortly. One of them extremely shortly, probably out by the time this goes up. I don't know when you post these, but
it'll probably be out Tuesday.
Yeah, so DropMix will be out in the world by then. So,
oh shit, really?
Oh yeah, no, it comes out early next week.
Oh wow, I didn't know DropMix was that close.
Yes. Yeah, you can actually, if you're in the US, you can download the app now. And like we've shared a couple mixes on Twitter, so you can actually listen to them in the app even before picking up the game.
Oh man, now I have to put money. Well, you've never talked about DropMix on the show, so let's kick things off with what the hell is DropMix?
So DropMix is a music mixing game that we have made in partnership with our friends at Hasbro. It's not something that is going to be conveyed well in a podcast. You should check out a video because we stream it every week, and there are plenty of gameplay videos that are out now. Press has had their hands on it for a week or two. But basically, it's a card game that has a board that connects via Bluetooth to your phone, where there's a free app that you can download. And each card represents a different part of a different song. And so you can blend all of these different songs together. So you could have, the bass line from Cake's Short Skirt Long Jacket and the beat from Church's Mother We Share and the guitar riff from Imagine Dragons and the vocals from Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe. And the game will just mix everything together, so everything is in the same key and the same tempo, and it just sounds incredible every time. And it's really kind of like, I know this sounds lame, but it really is magical. Like I haven't gotten sick of this game yet, and I have been paying attention to it very closely since I saw a super early prototype of it back in late 2015. And the mixing tech has always just been so spot on, and it's worked perfectly, this entire time. So
it's a rhythm game, but it's also a physical card game. What kind of technical wizardry is involved to make that happen?
So it's not a rhythm game. You don't have to play on the beat or anything like that. But obviously involves music pretty clearly. So I don't know. It's I'm not an engineer, so I don't know a ton about what actually goes into making this. But I know that it has been something that we've been really passionate about for a while, and we are obviously have some experience in making music games and
really
coming up with kind of new and unique ways that you can interact with music that you like. And Hasbro has this very long and storied history of making these, awesome physical products. And so, we partnered with them, and it was, it's kind of the perfect match where we can, bring these things together into a game that is totally new. And one of the things that's crazy about it is even if you don't like some of the artists that are in the game, like the way that you can mix it. I've had songs that I'm not a huge fan of where like I end up liking those mixes more than others because it's like, hey, I'd never realized how amazing the bass line was in this song, or it's got a really good beat, or there are plenty of things to like about music that you might think that you don't like just on its surface.
Now, I've seen you guys streaming the game a bunch of times on the Harmonix and the Rock Band Twitch channels. I still kind of don't understand the scoring aspect to it. Like, how does the actual gameplay work?
So there are 3 different game modes. One of them is freestyle, where you can just kind of throw cards down on the board. You can move them around however you want. There are no rules. There's no like win state or anything. You can change the key and tempo as much as you want. You can hit the DropMix button on the board, and it'll kind of give you like a random mix using the same cards that you have, but it'll be in a different key and tempo, so it sounds totally different, even though it's all the same songs you're mixing. There is also party mode, which is kind of this collaborative play mode where the app will throw out requests and you have to work as a group to meet them in a certain time limit. And then the one that you've probably seen more, because that's what we stream most on Twitch, is Clash mode, which is the competitive head-to-head that has the scoring. Most games are played to 21, and there are a couple different ways you get points. Usually it's by laying cards down on the board. You get a point for every card you drop. You get a bonus point if you add a color into the mix that isn't already in the mix. Different colors represent different parts of songs. So yellows will be your leads, usually vocals. Reds are your melodic loops, like guitar riffs or like synth leads. Blues are drum beats, and greens are bass lines. And then there are also effects cards, which are all unique and will do anything from like letting you add an extra card into the mix, or removing cards that your opponent has, or giving you bonus points for cards you might have on the board. And then there's also the DropMix button, which if you hit that, it'll spin an equalizer that has a chance to kick your opponent's cards out of the mix. And if they do lose cards, then they lose points as well.
That sounds really, really cool. And watching you guys stream it, I'm amazed at some of the combinations of songs that pop up and how well everything works.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, it really is seamless.
What are some of the oddball highlights that you find these combinations of cards, and in theory it should never ever work? Like Carly Rae Jepsen and Disturbed together should never work, but it does. What are some of the goofier things that you guys have found sound really, really cool?
So one of my personal favorite mixes, I found this, it was like the week before we announced, and I showed it on that announce stream. And now that we can share links to mixes, I actually included this. I brought it back 6 months later to show it again. And I don't know if you do show notes, but I can send you the link so you can include it in show notes if people want to listen.
Oh, absolutely.
But it is it's an Afrojack synth. It is a Skrillex. What is it? Skrillex guitar and drum beat. It is a Ricky Martin drum beat. It is a Bruno Mars drum and bass line, and then it is a Disturbed vocals and guitar riff. And it's just like this kind of upbeat, funky disco with Disturbed singing, and it just works so perfectly. And like when the chorus kicks in, it just all falls into place, and it's like it's incredible. It's amazing.
I'm curious to know if I could like play any of those on my show and not get flagged for like removal on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, so we do let you share mixes, which is kind of a crazy thing, since you're at least a little familiar with how complicated music licensing.
Oh God, yeah.
So you can save mixes at any point in any of the different game modes. You can just tap a button and say like, hey, this sounds dope. Let's save it and listen later. And so you can go back into save mixes. And when you're viewing those, you can tap a share button, which will either give you the link, which, I mentioned I can send you later, or you can actually hit an export button and it will export a video that gets saved to your camera roll. So you can like text it to a friend or you know, post it on Twitter or whatever you want to do. So yeah, you might be able to do that.
Are you able to convert them to like MP3 so you could just listen to whenever you want?
No. So we do show it as like it's a mix playback, so it shows the playback of the mix as you saw it in game.
And how long would the file be? Like, is it just going to be like a 30-second loop of what you're doing, or is it like a full like 3-4 minute song?
So it's not a full song. We use it's 32 measures that loop. And so when you do the video export, it ends up being about a minute. There's kind of like an intro where each card kind of gets to have its own introduction where it layers one card at a time. It doesn't just kick right into the mix. So that ends up being about a minute long. It's not the full loop. If you're listening in the app, though, it will play the full 32 measures, which ends up being, it totally depends on the tempo because they can go as low as 80 or as high as 150. So obviously slower ones will be like almost twice as long. But they end up being like 1 to 2 minutes ish, but it loops. So, you know, I'm totally guilty of just kind of leaving my phone with headphones in and like listening to a mix for 2 or 3 minutes and then switching to a different one.
That sounds really, really cool. Yeah. Since I first started watching you guys streaming this, I just, it looks so confusing and so interesting, but it's something like I need to try. So where is this going to be available? What's included? How much is it? Give me the details.
Yeah, sure. So it'll be available starting September 25th from 9:25, which is Monday, or yesterday if you were listening to this when it's actually out. It will, you can find it at Amazon, Target, Best Buy, Walmart has it online. You can check with your local retailer. There are others that'll have it as well. So it'll be $99.99. That gets you the board, which will connect to your, your iOS or Android device. And it gets you 60 cards across 4 different playlists. So that is enough for you to have a ton that you can kind of mix around with in freestyle with, or play party mode with up to 5 people, or play Clash, which is the competitive. Clash also lets you do either 1v1, 2v2, or it's actually balanced, so you can play 1v2, which is kind of awesome if you're in a situation where you have like 3 people and, you know, there aren't a ton of games out there that let you do that competitively without it being very unbalanced. So,
now obviously there's going to be people out there like me who are like, oh, well, 60 cards, that's clearly not enough.
Sure. So we have additional cards that'll be coming through either playlist packs or discover packs. Playlist packs are going to be $14.99, and they get you 16 cards. So it's one playlist of 15 cards plus a bonus card. The bonus cards kind of don't fit into a genre like the playlists do. So like, you know, for example, one of our playlists, the bonus card is the Doctor Who theme. So it doesn't really fit in like, you know, an electronic or a rock or a hip hop deck or something like that, but still a really fun card to put into a mix. So that's playlist packs. There are also discover packs, which are $4.99, and that gets you 5 cards. So it's like a card of every color, and then either a wild or an effects card. So you can like lay them all down on the board and kind of hear a cool mix. And then those will be available in like full series that kind of cross a couple different playlists. But none of these are blind packs. So the playlist packs open up. You can see everything that's inside. The Discover packs have a little window, so you can only see the front card, but they're not packed randomly. So the 5 cards in that pack will always be the same. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want, and don't have to worry about picking up duplicates, which is nice.
So if you own that front card being displayed, you own that pack.
Yep.
Thank you. So many people are just like, oh yeah, make it a blind pack. It's only $5. People will buy like 40 of them and they'll get like 6 new cards. They'll be happy. They'll deal with it. But you guys are being honest about it, and I like that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm very happy we decided to go that route too.
So how long are you guys planning on releasing new cards for this?
I mean, it's hard to say. Like, the game isn't even out yet, so
I'd imagine you guys at least have like a roadmap.
Yeah, for sure. So we have, in the US, we're going to be launching 4 playlist packs and 2 series of Discover packs. So that's going to be 12 individual Discover packs. So there will be an additional 120 cards in the US available next week, on top of the 60 that you get with the starter pack. And we do have other playlists that are in the works that we've talked about. You can check out, there's like a full song list of all the artists that we've announced that's on Twitter. And we're starting to talk about plans for 2019 as well, like nothing announced yet. I'm sorry, not 2019, 2018. So we would love to continue supporting this. You are very familiar with how we support Rock Band with ongoing DLC. So
just a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely a benefit to, supporting this with ongoing content, which we'd love to do.
Well, at least I know I'm going to remain poor thanks to Harmonix.
Well, I apologize. I'm a little bit sorry about that.
Everyone knows that I have spent an ungodly amount of money on Rock Band DLC over the years, and I wanted to update you that I own everything except for 3 songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So who do I have to bribe to somehow give my account entitlements to the Naked Brothers band pack and Fleetwood Mac's World Turning?
Oh, see, we can't even do that to like internal accounts. That was one of the first questions I asked, because I swapped from Xbox to PlayStation 4. So like, I don't have the Rock Band 1 or 2 exports on my account, and even for employees, there's not really anything that we can do there. I'm sorry, Joe, but that was the breaks.
I actually thought I was missing 2 others, but after looking at my download history, I have 2 of them. So those 3 are the only 3 I don't have. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm officially poor because of Harmonix.
Yeah. So you got like the Snoop Dogg pack and,
yep.
And all that. Nice.
Yep, the original Snoop Dogg pack with the one song that was pulled. I forget which one. What one was pulled in there?
I don't remember. That's before my time.
Yeah, I have the Airborne song. I have pretty much everything that was officially released except for those 3 songs. And nice. It hurts my soul, Josh. It hurts knowing that I missed out on those.
I know.
I'd imagine we still see Fleetwood Mac showing up in the game, so I'm assuming there's maybe like 0.5% that we might see World Turning come back.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, if you pay attention to our DLC releases, you might know that earlier this year we started doing this program that we call Rock Band Rewind, where we relicense tracks that expired from old like exports usually. So we brought back like, I think it was just last week or the week before, we did The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again. We did Beast and the Harlot from Avenged Sevenfold. I don't remember them all off the top of my head, but we've done probably like, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 songs now or something. So, relicensing songs that people couldn't get when they were available is definitely something that we're interested in. So
now, I know those other songs were like disc exports. Is it possible for you guys to go back and relicense delisted songs?
Yeah, I mean, like anything is possible. It takes an agreement between us and the labels and whoever else is involved in licensing. So it's possible, but
there's a little bit of hope out there for people who missed out on the original Metallica pack way back when.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. Not likely.
Even up, Joe.
It's not likely, but one of these days, fingers crossed, we might see Metallica come back.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to have.
You guys have also been making a lot of progress getting those delisted songs or stuff that's not available for sale anymore playable in Rock Band 4 if you already own it.
Yeah, the list of content that is not hasn't come forward to Rock Band 4 yet is very small at this point, and we've tried to kind of prioritize what we've targeted. So most of the big stuff is out already. It's some of the deeper cuts that still need to come forward. But yeah.
Are you guys still working on them? Are we still going to see those show up, or is it kind of like,
Yeah, I mean, we're still, obviously we still have good relationships with first party. I think, most recently, I think there was a batch of songs that came out for Sony Europe like less than a month ago. So yeah, we are still making progress on this.
That's good to hear. I know Sony Europe, those gamers have been kind of getting the shaft. And I'm not sure if that's, Sony being weird or what, but it's good to see them getting songs back.
Yeah, it's it's a different process than we deal with in Sony America. Like, it's different systems and everything, but we have been working really closely with them, and it's great to see movement and new stuff coming out.
Especially now that the rival seasons are in full swing, and have we talked about the rival seasons on the show in the past? I don't believe we have.
I don't think so. The rival seasons has only been around for about 3 months now. So
for the people who aren't familiar, what are seasons in Rock Band Rivals?
So Rock Band Rivals, as you are probably aware, is something that launched with the similarly named Rock Band Rivals in October of 2016. And so starting a couple months ago, we decided to kind of look at what was working, look at what we could improve upon, and we came up with Rival Seasons. And so instead of having this, ever-present race to the this like ever-present challenge of trying to maintain your position in the hierarchy of crews, you are instead reset to 0 at the beginning of a season. Everybody starts in bronze, and then it's kind of this race to the top where it is, you versus every other crew out there to see who can get to Bloodstone the fastest. And so far, we've been playing with 8-week seasons, which seems to work pretty well, given that we have 6 tiers. And we've been giving out rewards at the end of seasons. We did some T-shirts that we gave away for progress in season 0. We gave away some badges in season 1. We have these really awesome helmets that have like horns and crazy things on them that are coming in season 2, and we have some exciting stuff coming in season 3 and beyond as well.
I am very curious to see what's going to be in season 3. I know my crew we're working hard to try and get to Bloodstone this week. Base challenge, so I get to shine this week since I prefer playing base.
Nice.
Are you in a crew, and how's your crew doing?
I am not in a crew right now.
What?
I know. I play so much Rock Band at work. I don't play a ton outside of work anymore, and I wouldn't want to let my crew down. But I was in a crew for a while, and we were doing pretty well. And I think after DropMix and Super Beat Sports launch is behind us, I'm probably going to dive in again, if I can also shake this Destiny 2 habit that I've acquired recently. But
I feel that pain as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned Super Beat Sports. We might as well talk about that. I just got an email earlier today. Super Beat Sports is going to be launching on the Nintendo Switch October 12th. What is Super Beat Sports?
So Super Beat Sports is a collection of mini games that are all rhythmic and kind of sports-like, with like this wacky twist on different sports. So exclusively for the Nintendo Switch, there are 5 different game modes. There are tons of levels and gear that you can customize your character with. Some of the game modes are competitive, some of them are cooperative, and you're all like, hitting balls to the beat and trying to either, get a perfect score on a specific level with like, unique composed music that we made specifically for it, or trying to last longer than your opponents. It is a ton of fun. It is, it's also really, really cute. The premise of the game is that aliens came to Earth and have tried to adopt what they thought our sports were, and these are their interpretations of what they think they are. And they got a few things wrong. So, like the art style is adorable, and there are really like cute and funny loading tips. Even like the whole world that the team built is really kind of engrossing and awesome.
Now, the original Beat Sports was Apple TV, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
What made you bring the game back and go with the Nintendo Switch?
I mean, Super Beat Sports just felt like a perfect fit for a Nintendo Switch. We know that we have a lot of fans there that have been asking for us to do something on the Switch. This is a game that begs to have couch co-op in it. And so, I think that Nintendo Switch is well versed in that realm with things like, Mario Kart, and even with previous consoles like Super Smash Brothers was always better when you were in the same room with people and you could like yell at them when they killed you instead of playing with people online. And so it kind of felt like a natural fit. The fact that you can kind of pick it up and take it anywhere is also awesome. And yeah, it felt like a natural fit, and we're really happy with the reception that we've already seen. There are tons of people that are excited about it, and we're happy to see that.
I've been pretty excited about it as well. I watched you guys stream that again on your Twitch channel, and I'm surprised you guys didn't curse each other out when you would lose the games.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we try and keep it clean for Twitch and Facebook Live, but sometimes things slip out. But
as soon as the cameras went off, the knives came out.
Oh well, yeah, for sure. And there's also, the lead up where there's plenty of trash talk happening. But like there are also the cooperative games, which is a lot of fun too. Even then, it can be frustrating because it's not cooperative in the sense that like you're both working individually towards a common goal. There is actual cooperation in some of them. Like there's one game mode called Buddy Ball where you can stack on top of your partner, and each of you is a different color, and you can like if you're red, you can hit red balls. Your partner that's blue can't hit the red balls, and like so if they're in the wrong place, you can't stack, you can't hit the balls that you need to. So there definitely is coordination and yelling that happens even in the cooperative ones, which is fun.
Now, I know you said that there's couch co-op and couch play. Is there any kind of online to it or just local?
It's just local.
Are there any kind of single player modes to the game?
So you can play all of the modes in single player. The 3 cooperative ones work pretty seamlessly. It just the levels are made a little bit differently. Like there's no stacking in Buddy Ball if you're playing by yourself. For the competitive ones, they'll give you AI. So you can still play the competitive ones, although obviously it is most fun when you're playing with a friend. But yeah, you can totally play by yourself.
That is good to hear, because I'm kind of alone sometimes. The wife works a lot, and cats don't know how to use a Joy-Con yet. So
that seems like the opportunity to teach them, though. Like, they're mini games, so the controls are not super complicated. One of them even literally has 1-button controls where you don't even need to use the analog stick, which is kind of nice for accessibility reasons, that we've got that as an option. But I think a cat could totally learn to hit a button.
I'm going to have to teach him.
Yeah.
One of them will pick it up, I'm sure. I have enough to choose from that I think one of them can get it. So is this going to open the door to possibly more games showing up on the Switch?
I don't know. I mean, we've got nothing on the books right now. We're not planning for anything, but I think that kind of seeing how this does could influence what we do in the future, for sure.
Has the success of the Switch kind of caught you guys off guard?
I don't know. I mean, it's not our product, so it's hard to say what we were expecting one way or the other. It's great to see. If nothing else, like the games that are on Xbox and PlayStation, there's a lot of crossover there, and Nintendo has a ton of unique content to offer, which is really nice to see and kind of exciting, and one of the appeals. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, we all kind of pay attention to what's going on in the industry, and I know a ton of people at Harmonix have the Nintendo Switch and love it. I am a little worried about when Picross comes out next week because those games are totally my jam. But
do you have a Switch?
Oh, I have 2 Switches, one for me, one for my wife.
Oh, wow.
Can't have one of us wanting to play when the other, is already using it.
Are you gray or Team Neon?
I'm gray because that's all I could get. I got it at launch, and I couldn't get Neon. I would have gotten Neon. I did pick up a pair of the blue Joy-Cons, though, so I'm not gray anymore. I don't have the matched colors, the mismatched colors, though. I've just got blue, but it looks slick.
The blue ones do look good. Are you excited for any of the other Switch games coming out this year?
I think you would be hard-pressed to find a Switch owner that isn't excited for Mario.
True. Very true.
So Mario's kind of what I'm most looking forward to, aside from Super Beat Sports, of course. But yeah.
Clearly. I mean,
yes.
clearly.
Yes. Hashtag ad. Hashtag marketing.
What do you think of Bethesda getting in with Nintendo?
I think it's awesome. I mean, like, I've seen some hot takes on Twitter and on the internet, and most people are pretty positive, but there are some that think that it's not a good fit. But like, if it's not a good fit, then so be it, and then they'll learn from it, and they'll do something different next time. But I think that it's great to see people trying to do new things on new platforms or bring existing things to platforms that never had them before. It's the industry is kind of as incredible and interesting as it is because of all of the experimentation that happens here compared to a lot of different forms of media like movies and music. So it is, it's really refreshing to see that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next from them.
I like the people complaining that they're like, oh, Doom doesn't look as good as it does on other platforms. No shit, it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta make it work. It doesn't.
What do you expect from this Switch? It's a handheld.
Yeah. And it's great. I mean, it is the only handheld that you can play Doom on, so that's kind of cool, right?
And Skyrim. I'm buying Skyrim just so I could, play it on the go.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit's gonna be awesome. Get the Master Sword and run around killing things.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else is going on? How have you been?
I've been good. I've been busy. I mean, like, between DropMix and Super Beat Sports and, I don't know if you keep track of anniversaries, but Rock Band's 10th is coming up later this year. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on at work.
Any kind of cool stuff planned for the Rock Band anniversary?
Maybe. You should, keep an eye out, see what we do.
Well, we know I'm going to keep an eye out on it because I keep an eye out on everything Rock Band the way it is.
Right.
I know a lot of people have been concerned with, it seems fewer and fewer DLC songs have been coming out. With the anniversary coming up, could we see bigger packs coming out again?
Possibly. I mean, like, the number of songs that we're releasing is always kind of fluctuating. Yeah, I don't know. We have some stuff that should make some people happy in the works.
I am definitely looking forward to it. I know you guys usually announce like the monthly DLC at the beginning of the month, but there's been no monthly announcement. It's just been kind of week to week this month. Is there something big that we can expect next month or next week? Or is it just, that's how this week or this month was?
That's how this month was. We'll probably do it this way next month as well. Yeah, I don't know. There's always, we always used to do it week to week, and then we went month to month. Yeah, I don't know. It gives you something to look forward to being surprised about every week. Even when we were doing the month to month, sometimes we held things back. Like when we did Inagata Vita, we didn't announce that with the monthly announce. So,
What the hell made you guys get Inagata Vita?
The fact that it is a great, great song. Do you need any more reason than that? Come on.
It's also the very first song you guys have sold for $3.
It is, but it is also over a 17-minute song. So,
It is. And I about cried the first time I played it and I missed one note.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the only song that is longer than it is
2112.
12, which was only sold as a pack if you got the full 22-minute version or whatever that is. So,
by the way, I want to give a quick shout out to the people I play online with who decided to pick 2112 twice, and someone picked Inagata Devita, so fuck them.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds like a great playlist, especially if you play drums, but, you know.
Oh my god, I can't imagine being a drummer trying to go 17 full minutes of Inagata Devita, because there's no breaks for the drummer in that song, is there?
No, that drums are all the way through. Everybody else has breaks. When we streamed it the first time, I tried to do this bit and I was a little too late. I was on vocals, and the break is like a 13-minute break. And so I left and I started periscoping, which we pulled into the feed. And I walked down the street and I ordered a pizza. And I got the pizza and I'm like, hey, I could go for a Starbucks as well. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have just gone back with a pizza, because I took like 14 and a half minutes, including Starbucks, because there was a line. I wanted to be able to come back with the pizza and still nail it when my part was supposed to come back.
Oh, you were pushing your luck.
I know. But still, super fun song.
Yeah, even on bass, I think there's like a 5-minute gap.
Yeah, there are breaks for every instrument that isn't drums.
Like during that song, I was playing online with people. I'm like, BRB making food. And I got up, I made food, I threw popcorn in the microwave, I made a sandwich, finished everything up, cleaned up the kitchen, came back, started eating. Break was still going on, and I thought it was fun. That was basically free crew XP for me.
Yeah. Take it.
So that was fun. Speaking of crews, one of the guys in my crew had some questions for you that I'm going to ask.
Okay.
The first one, I'll be in Boston in February for a few days. What's the go-to karaoke spot up there?
Ooh. Painted Burrow does karaoke, I know. I don't do a lot of karaoke here. Like the only times I really karaoke are like when there is like E3 or GDC or something, and all of my game dev friends are out doing it. I don't know many spots that are in Boston.
Any good bars up there then? Good hangout spots?
Yeah, there are a bunch of good spots. Cambridge has a ton of them. Somerville has a lot of good ones. Boston itself doesn't have a ton, but the secret is going out to Cambridge and Somerville. It's not a secret. Everybody knows that.
One of these days I want to get up to that area. I've never been to Boston.
Oh, yeah, you should. If you aren't able to come in the next month, though, you should probably wait another 6.
Why?
Because winter sucks.
Well, I'm in Pennsylvania, so we get hammered with snow sometimes, too.
Yeah, it's probably not as bad as here, though. Like, Boston is... You want to be able to explore the city and walk around and everything when you come up here, and, January is not the time to do that.
Hey, at least I'm not like someone in Florida where if they even talk about possibly getting flurries, it's a state of emergency.
Yeah. My uncle lives in Maryland, so similar things happen there.
I can at least handle myself. It's, I can only imagine, are there people up in Boston in the middle of winter that forget that they've lived in Boston all their lives and they're like, oh my God, snow, what do I do?
Not usually. I think the big thing that happens here is preparation for blizzards. Grocery stores end up getting hammered when, oh, it's the worst snowstorm ever. It's the worst storm ever. So let's buy 40 gallons of water and all that.
Got to get the bread and the milk for their milk sandwiches.
Yeah.
In my area, it seems every winter people freak out that there's snow. It's like, yeah, this happened a year ago.
Yep.
This isn't new. This has been happening all my life. It's the same thing. And it's like they forget how to drive in snow.
Right.
People are dumb. Anyway, his other question was, how far in advance do you guys lay out your DLC for Rock Band?
It depends. So we have some things that, we have locks that we won't release for, 6 months, maybe. We have other things that, we might be kind of down to the wire on locking before we release it. It really just depends. We have, a bunch of things that we want to sign, and some of them take longer than others. But like, if we looked at the schedule now, I know what's coming in all of October, and some of November is like 100% locked.
Is there some good stuff coming?
Yes, there is.
Could you sneak us a song, maybe?
I could. Hang on. Let me. I will read you this cell in Excel. $1.99. Oh, that was the wrong one. Sorry about that. But I did only promise one, so sorry.
Well, at least we know it's going to be a $2 song.
Yes, yeah. Hot tips, leaks coming from Josh Harrison here at Harmonix.
That's an exclusive. That is an SML exclusive that sometime within October or November, there will be a $2 song available.
Yes. You can print that. You can take that to the bank.
You joke about the price, but I'm curious, are there any other $3 songs in the works?
I don't think so. No, the number of songs out there that are like, over 15 minutes long that would work well in Rock Band is very small. So, I don't know. We're not in a rush to do it for like, a 7 or 8 minute song. We released the full version of Avenged Sevenfold's The Stage earlier this year, which I think is like an 8-minute song or something, and that was still the normal $2. So
yeah, I know Peter Frampton was $2.
Yep.
Opeth. I'm sure a lot of prog and metal fans are out there like, there's plenty of 15-minute songs that you could get in Rock Band. Fucking all of Dream Theater could go in there.
Yeah.
Get their 20-minute songs in the game for $3.
Yeah. Maybe. Who knows?
I gotta say, a glaring omission that I've seen in the past couple of weeks that shocks me given the history with this band in the game. Nothing from the new Foo Fighters yet.
Yeah. Didn't the album only come out this week? Come on, give us some time. I don't know. I listened to the album when it came out, and I really like it. It's different. Same with the new Queens of the Stone Age. I would love to get stuff from both of those new albums.
Oh my God, yes. I would love to see more Queens in the game.
Yeah.
Could we see more Queens in the game?
I don't know. I think you know me well enough to know that I'm not going to give you like an actual early look at this stuff, but I don't know. We love Queens of the Stone Age, and I would love to see more of them in the game. So take that for what it's worth, which is not a lot because I'm not confirming or denying anything.
Do you have any favorites off the new albums between Queens and Foo Fighters?
For Queens of the Stone Age, I love, it's such an interesting album because it is so different than everything else that they have done. It was produced by Mark Ronson, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it has like a totally different sound, which is, I don't know. It is, some people don't like it, but I really, really, really do. I like the opening song, which is
Feet Don't Fail Me.
Feet Don't Fail Me Now. Oh, yeah, Feet Don't Fail Me. And I love the closer also, which is, I think, the title track, Villains of Circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all of the titles of them. I usually listen to albums in their entirety, like start to finish, so I don't pay a ton of attention to individual titles, unfortunately. But
I'm a big fan of Feet Don't Fail Me. I just wish like the first minute of the song was trimmed. It takes so long to get going.
Yeah, I can see that.
But what about Foo Fighters? I would love to play Run in the Game. I think I've already submitted a request for that one. If not, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, sure.
What is it? rockband.com/request?
That's the one. You know it well. Chevelle's the clincher.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah, because you know that I told you every time you bring it up, we push it back, right?
I didn't bring it up. That's on you.
I know. I'll take it. I'll take that one. But, yeah, Run would be great. The Sky's a Neighborhood would be good.
Oh God, yeah, that's like a Beatles song almost.
Yeah, like it's a really, that's like, Foo Fighters and Queens of the Stone Age aren't exactly the same, but there are a lot of similarities between them, and I think that like kind of holds true with this new album, where it's kind of a new sound for both of them a little bit.
I know The Sky's Neighborhood, a bunch of songs on the new Foo album are getting comparisons to the Beatles. It seems like people are starting to get really nostalgic for the Beatles Rock Band. Is there any chance we could see a remaster of that or backward compatibility on the Xbox One?
So we're not going to do backwards compatibility or remasters or anything like that. We know people like the Beatles, and again, it's like a never say never thing for anything coming, but no news to share right now.
I know when the game first came out, the Beatles were a lot more strict with their licensing. It seems they've loosened up. Is it possible to revisit those negotiations with them?
Maybe. I'm not the person to talk to about that. I don't deal with music licensing, and I'm very glad for that. But yeah, as far as backwards compatibility, that I think is a non-starter due to Microsoft, not due to licensing, because peripherals, any games with peripherals are not backwards compatible.
Now, what about something like Rock Band Blitz, which doesn't use a peripheral?
It doesn't, but we did have to take that down from the store relatively recently. Unfortunately, it did. Our rights for selling that did expire.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is. I loved that because, that's honestly what got me into Harmonix in the first place, is that style of game back with frequency and amplitude.
God, so good. A lot of people have been hoping we might see a Blitz mode come to Rock Band 4. Is that something that's possible, or are you guys focused on other projects?
It's possible for sure. We are still working on Rock Band. We literally released an update 2 days ago for Rock Band 4 that was pretty small. It just killed a couple bugs, but still, we are actively working on Rock Band 4. So
it has been 2 days since the patch came out. Have you heard any reports whether or not the checking set list is taken care of?
It seems like it is. We have this group that you may have heard of before called that we call the Super User Group, which is a bunch of hardcore players that have a special kind of relationship with Harmonix, where we they're all NDA'd, and we kind of talk to them about new features, and they test things and everything, and all of them are like, yeah, I played for 5 hours straight and I didn't see it once. So I think it is safe to say that one is finally behind us, which is a relief for sure.
I hope so. I know a lot of people online have been saying, yeah, they say it's fixed this time. I'll believe it when I see it, but hopefully they don't see it, because it'll be fixed.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. It's like it didn't happen 100% of the time before, so it's hard to prove a negative. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just frustrating if you can't nail down what the issue is, but fingers crossed this time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. Well, I know we've been chatting for a while. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Anything else I wanted to talk about?
Maybe Starburst. We talked about Starburst last time you were on.
Starburst. Let's see. What am I doing? I am big into Destiny 2 now. What else?
What are you looking forward to this fall, besides Mario, obviously?
Honestly, Destiny 2 was my big one. I have been playing that far too much. What else? I'm looking forward to South Park, but I think that got pushed, maybe? I don't remember.
I think it just went gold today, actually.
Well, good timing on that. The games that I was looking forward to came out kind of early. I was looking forward to Destiny. I loved the new Uncharted spinoff that had Chloe and Nadine, Uncharted Lost Legacy. That was really good. What else? I don't know. I have a list of things that I'm looking forward to, but I'm digging all the new Telltale stuff. The new Batman thing is, releasing, and the new Life is Strange. Always loved those. Yeah.
Any recent albums come out that are excited about or that you're looking forward to?
Queens of the Stone Age was the big one for me. Like they're that band that I have kind of loved through the years and loved watching them kind of evolve as a band, and I've loved all of their albums for different reasons. Also really, this is kind of a deep cut. I don't know if you know this band even exists, but there's a band called Streetlight Manifesto, which is this like ska punk band that I have loved since like right after college. And they used to be under Victory Records, and they allegedly had some kind of dispute with them or something, but like they're all indie now and they own all their masters, and so A, I would love to see them in Rock Band or DropMix, and B, I think they're working on a new album, which, if that's true, that would be awesome. I would love that because it has been many years since their last one.
Well, if you go to rockband.com/request, you could try requesting them for the game and see if it happens.
I could, yes. I have other avenues to approach that. So, I get to cheat a little bit, but.
So is there a chance that we might see, I know you mentioned you'd like to see Streetlight Manifesto in DropMix. Is there a chance we could see some of the bands and songs in DropMix make the jump to Rock Band? I know a lot of people have been saying for a while that they'd love to see Churches in Rock Band, and they're in DropMix.
They are. So we actually just, I am triple checking that I am not leaking something here. Hang on. Give me a second.
I'm going to think that your delay is kind of saying that Churches are coming to Rock Band.
No. I'm not announcing that. Yeah. Just Rick James Super Freak came to Rock Band yesterday. I was getting it mixed up with something else and making sure that I was getting it right. But yeah, okay. Rick James Super Freak came to Rock Band, and that is in DropMix. Mm-hmm. So Churches would be awesome. There is this like video out there of Churches playing Rock Band at Gamescom 2015. The lead singer, they played Misery Business, I'm pretty sure, by Paramore, and like they are known to have this like really good relationship with Paramore, where I think Paramore actually brought the lead singer out on stage at one of their shows. But yeah, I would love Churches to be in there. I've seen Churches live a few times, and I very much would love to see them.
You should make it happen, man. You should make it happen. You could make it happen.
Yeah, I know. I also would love to get up a request page for DropMix as well. Like, it would be great to see what everybody would love to see in that game.
I'm going to assume the turnaround time for songs in DropMix is going to be a bit longer than Rock Band.
Yeah, because they have to be printed on cards. It's not digital releases. So there is a longer turnaround time for those. Like, we're, working through what we're doing in 2018. We have our roadmap is much further ahead on DropMix than it is on Rock Band right now. And probably, will always be that way as long as we're doing both side by side. But yeah, I don't know. It's really exciting to see this game finally about to hit stores in like a matter of hours.
It is so close. I honestly had no idea it was this close, and now I'm really excited, and now I have to figure out where I could sell a kidney to afford it.
Yeah. Yeah. But, as I said, free app download if you're in the US, and you can still listen to mixes. So
I already downloaded the app. You told me it was on the store, and I downloaded it right away.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm going to fuck around with that later on and listen to what's all on there, and hopefully you'll send that link and I could check out the mix you were talking about.
Yeah, we posted 10 mixes when the app went live, so I'll send you all 10 of those so you can listen.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Odd question. What the hell was going on earlier this year with Rock Band and Arcade Fire? What was that all about?
That is a very good question. I think you're asking the wrong side of that equation, but yeah. No idea.
So you guys don't know what was up with that?
No.
Was it like someone they took a still shot of a performance they did and they photoshopped Rock Band banners and logos into it?
Yep. We saw that alongside everybody else. We were kind of surprised by that. But yeah, really, really interesting. And if you get to the bottom of it, let me know.
Have they hit you up?
I can't talk about that stuff, though.
I mean, you could at least say whether or not they open a line of communication. Clearly, you can't confirm anything, but I mean, if you talked about like getting a cup of coffee together or something, that's a line of communication.
I would love to have a cup of coffee with Arcade Fire.
So confirmed, Harmonix is having coffee with Arcade Fire.
I just said I would love to personally. I have no idea if Harmonix is having coffee or not.
John Harmonix.
Yeah.
Is going to have coffee.
Sure.
Oh, my Lord. Josh, it is always a pleasure having you on the show. I don't want to eat up too much of your day. Thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And again, congrats on your 5th appearance and 10th appearance of Harmonix. I think Harmonix is the first company to be on here 10 times, double digits.
Who are the others that are up there?
I know Loot Interactive has been on a bunch of times. Mike and Adam Rippin, they've kind of been in a handful of different companies through the years, but they've been on a bunch of times. I should go back and like do a log of who's been on the show and how many times.
Yeah. Have you been on all 300 and something?
Yes. I am the only constant of every single show.
Awesome.
Even when I had back surgery a few years ago, that was fun because I was drugged up in the hospital and we recorded it in the hospital room.
Oh, my God.
Every time people ask for like, what's a good episode we should go back and check? I always forget the number, but the title's like Post E3 Tylenol Party, something like that. And like just listening to the show, you could tell I am fucked up on all kinds of painkillers. It is hilarious to listen to. Trying to go over E3 news while I'm conked out. Like middle of the show, there's nurses coming in to like take my blood pressure. Middle of the show.
Oh my God. Well, maybe I'll have to go back and listen to that one.
You should. Since you said you're a podcaster yourself, where can people hear your podcast?
Oh, you're letting me plug my own thing.
Goddamn right I am, man. You've been so awesome to the show. I want you to plug yourself because I want to check it out myself.
Yeah. So I am on a podcast called Instead Of, where me and 2 other buddies kind of ponder life's big questions. So we'll take situations and kind of wonder what would happen if instead of the way they are, they were different. And just like all good podcasts, things get away from us very easily, and it's like 80% tangents. My 2 co-hosts are like fiercely funny to the point where it's almost unfair how funny they are. And like my contributions to the podcast are like maintaining the website and editing it every week and making sure it gets posted. And like they just have to show up and be funny, which is kind of a good place for me to be in because it's kind of less pressure in a way. But yeah, we just launched our 13th episode this week. So we've got nothing on you, but we release new episodes every Wednesday.
Nice. I will have to check that out. Where can we find it? You didn't mention that.
Yeah, you can just search Instead Of in any podcast app. We're also at insteadof.fm or at insteadofFM on Twitter.
Nice. I will have to check that out, give you guys a follow.
Yeah.
And if you ever need a really boring guest, let me know.
Yeah, we have had a ton of people ask about guests, and we're still kind of like finding our groove with just the 3 of us. But if we do, it's always good to have another person that knows how podcasts work.
Well, I wish you guys the best with that. I hope you guys stay a 3-man team. My 3-man team disappeared a while ago.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man, it's just me. It's just me now. I've had a bunch of different co-hosts come and go, and my most recent one quit like a month and a half ago. So now it's just me and guest co-hosts on week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to come on and just hang out for an episode and shoot the shit with news and everything else instead of an interview, let me know.
Yeah, maybe I'll take you up on that.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. We're going to take a quick musical break, and we'll be back with more of the show in a little bit. Josh, do you have any final words to end this bit of the show?
Check out DropMix. #ad.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for hanging around. Another thanks to Josh Harrison of Harmonix for dropping by for his 5th time. I still can't believe 5 times he's been on. And 10th overall for Harmonix. That's insane. I don't know why they like us. But plenty more show to go, and we're kicking things off with our reviews with our good friend Royal Sefton back on the show. Royal, how are you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Doing okay. It's Steelers lost on Sunday. Which some fucked up stuff happened in that game, but you know, what are you gonna
do? Is it bad that I'm like secretly kind of happy about that? I'm more of a Hawks guy.
You son of a bitch.
I promise I won't let it come between us, Joe. You're okay. I don't care what anybody says.
I will fucking cut you. But wait, aren't they NFC?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm actually not a football fan. I just wanted to kind of.
Oh, so you're just trying to start shit with me.
Exactly what I'm doing. You saw
you motherfucker. You motherfucker. Anyway, you got 2 games to talk about today, and we're going to kick things off with Project Cars 2, developed by Slightly Mad Studios, published by Bandai Namco. Released September 21st on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam for $59.99. The ultimate driver journey, Project Cars 2 delivers the soul of motor racing in the world's most beautiful, authentic, and technically advanced racing game. Royal, what did you think of Project Cars 2?
Holy shit. So you asked me, do you like sims? You like racing sims? Oh, sure. Yeah, I like Gran Turismo. I loved Gran Turismo when I had a PlayStation. I enjoy the Forza line now that I have an Xbox. Good stuff. I was not ready for Project Cars 2. Holy shit. Okay, so I had Project Cars 1. And so I sat down and finally played it. It came, as a Games with Gold special, and I had it installed. And that thing chewed me up and spit me out. I mean, I thought I liked racing games, but it taught me to appreciate just how difficult a proper racing game can be. And Cars 2, no exception. It's prettier about it. It's a really good looking game. It's really unforgiving. I kind of got a feeling that if you're a fan of the first one, you probably know what you're getting yourself into. But if you're new to this is going to get real interesting real quick.
All right, so give us the rundown. Clearly, I'm guessing it's going to be a bit more advanced than something like, Forza Horizon or Need for Speed.
Right, absolutely. So this is the kind of game where if you don't have a wheel, you're going to probably make that decision, maybe I should go out and get one. Because you're sitting there trying to work this with the controller, easy does it. When you're with the triggers, you got to be real gentle on the gas and especially gentle on the brake. You got to be real gentle with the steering. You can turn on lots of assists, and when you first fire up the game, it's going to ask you, a couple questions in Cars 1 and Cars 2. It didn't even do that. It just said, okay, so do you want to start your career or do you just want to do a practice run? And so you can go into career mode, and it'll start you out with either what kind of motorsport do you like, and it's broken into multiple categories, including rally, grand touring, or even go-karts. And I thought, well, I'll start with go-karts. And I had my ass handed to me in like 2 minutes. It was delightful. It was fun. I mean, it was my white whale. I was doing like 20 or 30 reattempts at the same course, saying I will win this, and had to push myself real hard, and I still suck at it. But anyway, it's broken into several sections. You can do careers, you can do online racing. Didn't get a chance to try that for myself. You can also do practice runs, and you can pick pretty much any motorsport, any course, and then pick pretty much any car and try out the track for yourself, like a time trial, or you can, race against the AI and get a feel for the game. So it's a very open-ended type game, but the presentation is not as I don't want to say hand-holdy, but it's when you open up like Grid or Dirt or Forza Horizon, you're going to have, I wouldn't say a story, more like these characters that are going to walk you through what's next, like presenters. You don't have anything like that with Cars 2. It's just right. Bare bones, right down to business. It'll tell you, here's how you get started. Go through these options. Do you want to adjust every little thing about your vehicle, or do you just want to take the mechanic's word for it that these are the things you want, and then you go? So I'm
the guy who would be like, yeah, I'll take his word for it because I don't know shit about vehicles.
Well, the thing is that it's really cool because you can actually tweak every single facet imaginable about your ride. Whether the tires front or rear have a slight camber to them. You can choose how damp or firm you want the suspension, how you want the weight to distribute from front to back, all these little tweaks, how strong you want the brakes in the front versus the back, and so forth, to suit your driving style. And I took full advantage of that because I just kept spinning out with the recommendations that they had, and it's because I'm just a little too heavy on the brake, especially. So it was a very humbling experience, but it's pretty impressive, the breadth of what you can configure in Cars 2.
Nice. It sounds like a game that rewards you with it rewards you, I guess, in respect to how much time and effort you put into it.
Absolutely, you get what you give. That is definitely what they try to convey. So it's sort of in for a penny, in for a pound, as one might say. You take the time to learn the vehicle, you take the time to study the track, and the tracks are all modeled after real life tracks. It's really, really slick. And with patience, persistence, practice, and probably a really good steering wheel, it's going to be one of those games that you can get a lot out of. If you're going into it with your controller and you're expecting it to be like Forza Horizon 3, just bring a lunch. You're going to get your ass kicked. But it's a very pretty game, and I can tell it was made with a lot of love, and the cars are, near as I can tell, accurate. I haven't sat in any high-powered vehicles, but they have a tuned-up Focus, and I can attest that at least that's kind of what a Focus looks like on the inside. It seems like they're very exact on those details. Pretty slick.
Is there a Jeep Patriot in the game?
Oh, a what?
A Jeep Patriot?
No, they don't have that. They do have some rally cars, which is kind of fun, but yeah, rally kicked my ass even worse than just driving on asphalt. That was very humbling. So
it's good to hear that there's more than just track racing in this as well.
Oh, Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different options, and there's something for everybody. But it's definitely real steep learning curve. And thankfully, I mean, you can turn on some assists, like it'll draw the ideal line for you to follow on the course. That's not on by default, but you can switch that on. You can say, go easy on me with the steering, go easy on me with the brake, and by making those adjustments, it's easier to kind of ease into the game. But then, as you start to take those assists off, there's a very rewarding high-level game out there that the Cars community, shall we say, has. There's a Facebook group, and you can set up race times with other people who are interested in treating this like they're getting in a physical car. They have coordinated race days and all this stuff. So it's very much a high-tier game.
Nice. Sounds like a nice hardcore community out there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. There's some folks that are very devoted to it. I can't count myself among them. Like I said, it's a very humbling experience the first time you jump into this.
Nice. I'm curious to know, the Forza games and even Gran Turismo have always tried to include some goofier cars in there as well, like driving a cube van or something in Forza. Is there goofy stuff in here as well, or did they try to keep it more serious?
Yeah, it was pretty serious. Aside from the go-karts, there wasn't anything that struck me as really outlandish, but you can play with some different cars that are a little more historical, like they'll go down through the 70s and so on, some of the older GT cars and such. And kind of a fun little thing, I remember in Gran Turismo 2, there was this Skyline, this NHK 91 Skyline. I called it a dragster, really, because I mean it was just forward power. And Cars 2 has that exact same one that was in GT2, same paint job and everything. I'm not a big race aficionado, but I can make the assumption that this is a pretty famous configuration to have replicated it so lovingly. Nothing really outlandish that I saw. Now, maybe there's something in there you can unlock, but yeah, I remember some of the GTs had some pretty goofy stuff too. So,
all right. So, big question for $60. What is your verdict on Project Cars 2?
If you have Cars 1, I think it's a buy it. If it's your kind of game, your cup of tea. It depends on your level of devotion, If you are expecting something that is going to be a little more in line with the Forza line, with the Codemasters racers like Dirt or Grid Autosport, then it's a little more on the try it side. Now, if you're really looking for a serious sim, I think you could pretty much buy this without reservation. You just got to be willing to put the time in to really get your money out of it. Because it is a slick game. It's really solid, but it is hard as hell. Especially if you're used to an arcade racer, which, I thought myself to be somewhat of a sim racer. And no, I have learned that I have a lot of driving practice to get in before I can call myself really a sim racer.
This game has proven that you are a casual driver.
Yes, it has definitely humbled me to casual status. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
So overall, it sounds like the hardcore sim fans are going to love it. The more casual arcade fans might want to stick with Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah, or, if you get a chance to try it, you may be pleased if you're ready for what's next, It's definitely one of those games that, like I said, you get what you give.
Sounds good. And then I have one final question. We are clearly going to see a ton of comparisons with this and Forza 7. What are your thoughts on that?
So Forza 7 is slated to really take advantage of Xbox One's hardware, especially the new One X. Cars 2 is not quite. Now, what I had read is that it actually is the weakest render of the ports out there. That if you buy Project Cars 2 for a PS4 Pro, you're getting like a 1440p render. Whereas for the Xbox One, it's rendering at about 900p. So graphically, it's kind of a cut below what I expect Forza 7 to look like. Yeah. Now maybe that'll change the One X and some updates. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty amped for Forza 7 now. As to whether or not it's going to be the same kind of gameplay experience, I think Forza 7 is probably going to be a little gentler. obviously. But from a technical vantage, yeah, Cars 2, it's very pretty, but I think that in terms of just being, third party versus being a first party release, there's going to be some gaps there. That Forza 7 is going to be a prettier game.
Gotcha. And just to double check, I went and looked. Project Cars 2 is listed as it's going to be getting an Xbox One X update with 4K 60 FPS.
Whoa, nice.
So it looks like this one might be on par with or exceed the Pro.
Well, you know what? That's really good news for anybody who's going to be a racing fan, because you can never be too spoiled for choice when it comes to that stuff, especially something that's really solid. Because, like I said, this is a great game. So, it may just come down to what do you think is going to be a better time? Do you want a game that's really gonna take no prisoners, or do you want something that's probably a game you could sit down with your kids or nieces or nephews or something and be able to get them racing with you in a more accessible manner? Because I have a feeling you're probably going to see that sort of experience with the Forza line, and then I'll continue with Forza 7 than you would with Project Cars 2. But either way, I mean, you're slated for some really, really good racing. Yeah.
All I know is that when it comes to racing games, I can't wait for the inevitable Forza Horizon 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
definitely.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're here to talk about another game. This one is more of a preview, not a review. Because this one is Dungeons 3, developed by Realmforge Studios, published by Kalypso Media Digital. This one's not releasing until October 13th on Steam for $39.99, then October 17th on Xbox One and PS4 for $59.99. Through enticing the dark elf priestess Thalia from the fluffy clutches of the surface world. Is that really fluffy clutches? Oh my God, it is the fluffy clutches of the surface world to become his chief lieutenant. The Dungeon Lord has found a way to direct his campaign of conquest from the confines of his underground lair. With Thalia on the front line and the united forces of evil to support her, players will have to use every trick in the book to best those do-gooders of the overworld once and for all. I love the fact that the fluffy clutches of the surface world.
Yeah, and that's not inaccurate, because when you are walking around the surface, you encounter like a patrol party or one of the other heroes you have to do in. It'll play very light, airy music, la 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 la. Like they don't know what's going to hit them. It's hilarious.
So, what is Dungeons 3?
So, Dungeons 3 is sort of like a loving homage to Dungeon Keeper. It's an older computer game about dungeon management. And I'm not familiar, full disclosure, I'm not familiar with the first two in the series. I haven't played them. However, I have come to the understanding that they were well received and well liked. And Dungeons 3 adds some unique factors to it, including it's a little bit harder to accidentally kill your own minions, which I think is always a plus. The game is very much about taking a dungeon and building it up and excavating it, as well as conquering the overworld. So half the game plays a lot like Warcraft. The other half is more dungeon management, of course, and you have this hand. Actually reminded me a little bit of Black and White, if you're familiar with that, where you have this god hand and you can slap your critters around or punish your minions or your worshippers in that game. There's kind of a similar touch here. You have the little snots, which is the term of affection for all of the little minions that do the mining and excavating for you. You can pick up and move any of your warriors and put them where you need them. And if they're not moving fast enough for you, you can slap them around a little bit. And once you move to the overworld, the hand no longer rules. Instead, it's more of a traditional RTS where you simply use a cursor to mass select and then issue orders. So it's a unique, two-mode strategy game that way.
Gotcha. So it sounds really cool.
Oh, it's hilarious. Has a fantastic sense of humor and a narrator that breaks the fourth wall every once in a while. Tries to avoid calling you as you. Will simply call you the evil, but it will prepend that with various things like the growing increasingly impatient evil, or the certainly very hungry evil. Whatever suits the narration at that time. Hilarious writing, absolutely hilarious writing. Very cheeky. A tech tree that includes a brewery. I don't think you can go wrong if you can build a brewery in your game. Yeah. Your goblins and your ogres are going to demand beer at some point in order to become better at what they do, which is nice. Fantastic.
Now, I know you have a preview build. I'm not sure how much of the full game is in there. Do you have any idea?
You know what? It's kind of funny. When I first got access to it, I was playing an alpha. I wasn't aware that I had failed to put in a special beta code to get access to the current beta release. So I felt, man, this is not ready. This is not going to be ready for October. No way. It was very confusing. Half of it was in German. There was almost no sound.
And that's why you're supposed to read the entire message I send you.
Yes. Follow the instructions. This I have learned. So having done that, it's really, really solidly complete. It has a pretty good tutorial already that shows you how to get started. It's got a full boat of quests, a single-player campaign. It's a real kick. And aside from like maybe a couple typos in the writing or something, I mean, I didn't see anything really not ready for prime time. I think they got a lot of polish on this. It's really cool. And it's a lot of fun. Sounds good. Well, because this is a preview, we're not giving it any kind of official verdict. But given that we're 2 weeks out, is this something that people should consider pre-ordering? Is it worth throwing the couple of bucks down now? Yes, I think so. If you like an RTS, if you like and remember Dungeon Keeper from the 90s, I think it's definitely a hit in the making. It's a lot of fun. If you pre-order now on Steam, I noticed that's 15% off. Yep, it's $34 instead of $40. Plus, if you pre-purchase, it gives you instant access to the closed beta, Throne Room DLC with an extra skin and a soundtrack. Yeah. It's so solid. I would do it. I think that it's a fantastic one. I'm definitely keeping my eye on this, and when it releases, I'm sure I'll have a very favorable verdict for it. Nice. What are your thoughts? Should console players keep their eye on it as well, since it's going to be $20 more over there? That's a really good question. I didn't get a chance to evaluate how it plays with the controller. I do have a Steam controller. I'm a huge fan of using Steam controller on a lot of games. Didn't try it with this one. To me, I've only ever played strategy games with a keyboard and a mouse. The fact that it's $20 more on console, in addition to not being keyboard and mouse driven on that platform, well, I'm scratching my head on that one. I mean, I would keep an eye on it, but I'm really curious why it's $20 more there, and how well it's going to play when you're using a controller. Now, with the hand mechanic, instead of using a regular cursor like Warcraft, Starcraft, wherever you have this giant hand, you can pick up characters and throw them outside or throw them in the incinerator if you want to replace them, whatever. I can see how that would work with the controller pretty well. With the cursor, I'm anxious to see how that's going to play out. But $20 more, yeah, I don't know. I think it's such a great deal on Steam. If it's debuting at $40, it sounds like it's a slam dunk to me. But $60 has me going, let's take a look here. I'm curious to see how it's going to turn out on console. Well, I guess that's the beauty of console games. They always seem to be a couple bucks more expensive than Steam. The good thing is the launch version of the console version is going to be the Extremely Evil Edition, which will also include the Throne Room DLC and the digital soundtrack. Good. So console gamers won't end up missing out on that stuff at all, as long as you get the launch edition. If you fuck around and wait, you're out, and that's your own goddamn fault. Yes. Get on the Dungeons 3 train. Sounds good. Well, I am very, very much looking forward to hearing more about this one closer to release, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again soon. Yes, it'd be my pleasure. Any final words to sum things up? No. I'm drawing a blank, man. All right, next up we have 2 games to talk about with our good friend Tim Ekkebus. Tim, how the hell are you doing today?
Good. I wish I had refilled my water, but We'll do it live.
Do it live?
We'll do it live.
All right, let's rush through these then. First one to talk about is called Hidden Dragon Legend Shadow Trace, developed by MegaFun Games, published by Oasis Games. It released September 19th on PS4 for $19.99. Hidden Dragon Legend Shadow Trace is a 2.5D combo-packed high-speed action platformer set in Imperial China, featuring the bloody story of dark alchemy, evil cults, and a vengeance-driven quest. Tim, what the hell is this game?
Oh man, yeah. So it's weird. Like the setup for it is actually not unlike that of Redeemer, which I reviewed a couple months ago. And just like this dude wakes up, he's been experimented on by this shady organization and is, combating them. I don't know. That's irrelevant. Yeah, it is a 2.5D action platforming game, as they say. They try to invoke, like a Devil May Cry style of action in promoting this game. It does take place in ancient China. That those things are true. So yeah, you got your guy, you got a sword, you start off, you have like a few combos, you have a few special attacks, and yeah, you get going. I'm just trying to think here. Like, man.
It sounds like you have some reservations with the game.
Oh, I don't think this game is very good. The combat is really stiff and really repetitive. I mean, basically, it's 2.5D, so I would just try to get myself on one side of the screen and then just pound my way across until all the guys were in a big pile for me to just beat the crap out of them all at once, just kind of mashing between my light attack and my heavy attack. And that was kind of for like the whole game for the most part. I could get away with that shit. There's not like, you're not unlocking more combos. You do get some more skills, but so you have like these 5 little dots that fill up for your skill meter, and they fill up so fucking slow. Like you can equip 3 skills at a time, but really you're probably just going to only use 1 or 2 of them, either your most powerful one or maybe one that only takes 3 dots, just because it takes so long to build up. You're only going to blow it on the big fights. It's not like you're going to sit there and strategize, oh, I want this one, and this one, and it fills up, periodically throughout a fight so that I can, bust out with some cooler moves rather than just kind of hacking away. But it just takes so long, and that I think is like kind of a big problem. Is it like your cooler, more powerful stuff is just almost never get to use it. There's like chapter 3, there's 4 chapters of the game. Chapter 3 is mostly platforming, which I'll get to in a bit. But obviously, since you're not doing any combat, you build up nothing between the boss of the second chapter and the boss of the third chapter. Nothing.
Oh, man.
0. Nada.
So it doesn't even, it's not one of those where it just fills over time?
No. That might be better. That would be better, because it'd be better than nothing.
It sounds like a game where they would like give you these massively powerful weapons and no ammo.
Almost, yeah, kind of, yeah. Basically, like the attacks you get are strong, and you earn experience doodads. I don't know what they call them. You earn experience, you spend them, you can unlock more of them. But it's kind of like what the there's a bunch of them, but you're not. They just don't really see a lot of use. You also find these things called sutras. I don't know if they're like hidden through the levels. I was getting close to the end of this game. Like I said, there's only 4 chapters, and I was like, man, I don't really have a lot of stuff. Have I just been missing nooks and crannies of the levels? But you equip these sutras, and these also have levels you can level up, and they seem like they give you different bonuses and have different effects on the battlefield. Like one, I think enemies dropped more experience. The other one, the one I had equipped most of the game, I don't even remember. It just gave me better stats, so that's the one I had equipped. You find better swords. I didn't find very many, so maybe all that stuff was off the beaten path or something. It just like I had very little progression for my character. I just don't even know where I would look for this stuff. Like, cause like chapter 3 in particular is a straight shot, and we'll get to that in a second. But anyways, like all that said, like I was kind of ready to give this game a pass because the cutscenes are fucking hilarious. They are so unintentionally funny in like a very like Shenmue, like early 3D, like 2000-ish sort of way. Just like very weird, stilted dialogue delivery and voice acting, and just like the way the characters move and animate in the cutscenes. Like for the first like hour and a half of this game, I was laughing at every cutscene, like hard. Like it's and just like slapping my forehead, just like, why is this so weird and stupid? And it was developed like the company it is in China, so I don't, that might have something to do with it. But yeah, it was funny. It was like some House of the Dead 2, like really great bad voice acting, which is tough to find these days, because usually companies are either trying hard and you just get something that's kind of like, good at best, or, kind of in the middle, or they're trying to do something intentionally bad and then it may or may not work, probably doesn't work because they're trying too hard. So it was nice to have something that was, like actually funny for being bad. But I got to this point in the second chapter where there was a platforming puzzle, and I said, oh no, you shouldn't do this. Your platforming mechanics are not good. You shouldn't make me do this. But they made me do it. And the platforming is bad, just like the way the dude jumps. You start out with a double jump, which is cool. But the thing that I realized is the camera follows you when you jump, so it makes it really hard to spot the landing. Like, one might... Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then all of Chapter 3, except for the boss, is one long, like, running platforming sequence. The whole thing. And it has checkpoints, but it's just trying to get past the first part. I was missing jumps because I was up in the air, or there was like boulders rolling out of the background that I wasn't quite understanding how to dodge at the time. And I was just like dying back to the beginning of the level, dying, game over screen, back to the beginning of the level every single time. I'm just like, oh my God, why did and that's when I figured out, like, this is why I can't jump in this game, because the camera keeps panning up with your character every single time. Not that the jumping would be great besides that, but oh my God, that makes it really hard.
So if they were to make it a static camera, would that
would help
improve it significantly?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, just like being able to see where you need to land when you jump, especially in this segment. Like, there's a part where you're like, there's these pillars that are falling over, and you need to jump to the next one, and it's a pretty narrow pillar, and when you jump, that camera goes up, and it's just like, oh God, every time. I forgot you get a claw grappling hook. That's kind of cool. You can use it to pull guys in, but mostly you use it to, hook onto things in the environment to move around. But yeah, it's just between the kind of dull combat and just the infuriating platforming, I was like, oh my God, this game turned into such a slog. Like, I was ready to just push it through, be like, no, you gotta play this game if just for the hilarious cutscenes, the game. But man, that pushed it over from being just kind of dull to being actually infuriating, and kind of deep sixed it for me.
That's a bummer to hear, because when I saw the trailer, I thought it looked really good. Like, yeah, visually, I thought it was really nice.
Yeah, no, the graphics are good. Like, the characters animate well, and it looks nice. Looks nice in HD and nice deep backgrounds. But once you're actually controlling it, it's woof. Woof.
Well, I'm scared to ask, but $20, what's your verdict?
No. Deny it. Deny.
All right. Next game to talk about is called Sine Mora EX, or Sine Mora EX.
Yo, maybe look up the cutscenes on YouTube, though.
I might have to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sine Mora EX, or Sine Mora, whichever, Rochambeau to figure out how to say it. Developed by Digital Reality and Grasshopper Manufacturer, published by THQ Nordic. It released September 26th on the Nintendo Switch for $29.99. Sine Mora EX is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up that provides a unique challenge where time is the ultimate factor. Mixing classic shooter sensibilities with contemporary presentation is a gorgeous shoot-'em-up offering both a story mode that weaves an over-the-top tale and an arcade mode that provides deep, satisfying gameplay to challenge fans of the genre. Tim, I know you were a fan of this last gen. What did you think of the rebirth of the game?
It's great. It's every bit as good as that game was when I first played on Xbox Live Arcade, like 5 years ago, which it doesn't feel like that game is that old, but apparently it is ish. But yeah, so Cinemora is a scrolling shooter. Unlike most scrolling shooters, I think, that get released these days, most are very, very bullet hell. And that can be a real tough barrier to entry for people who are not as into the genre as me. I mean, I'm not like super dope at bullet hell shooters or anything, but I just like them. I love scrolling shooters. I have since I was a kid. And traditionally it is a very hard and unforgiving genre because you just have to remember and remember level layouts and stuff. But Cinemora, I actually think, is a really good game for people who are more casually into scrolling shooters to get into. The story mode has a novice difficulty, and the main mechanic that kind of makes Cinemora stand out is there's this time mechanic where you can slow down time to help you navigate your way through some of the tougher areas. You don't have infinite rewind, but it's a meter. But it can help when you're just like, okay, I just need to get through this one attack to live. It's also not one hit kills. When you get hit, you lose time. There's a timer that counts down in every level. And if you get hit too much, the timer goes down. You run out of time. You die. But you gain time by shooting enemies. It's all about time and time travel and slowing down time, manipulating time. That is what the game is built around, but it's great and it freaking works, man. And yeah, I mentioned the story mode. So this is also unique in the world of scrolling shooters. This game actually has a really good story. This is where Grasshopper and Suda51 came in, was in helping to write the story. The studio itself is a Hungarian studio. I'm guessing it's Hungarian because the other voice option for voice acting is Hungarian, which is what I played it entirely in 5 years ago. So it was weird to hear English voices on these characters. But yeah, it's a really dark, interesting story about this empire that's oppressing this race of people, animal people, I guess, and this war is taking place across time. Again, the keyword time. Just like there's a lot of fucked up shit going on. Like you're jumping between different characters. Like the kind of one of the first characters you're introduced to is out on this mission of vengeance for his son who was murdered when he refused to drop bombs on the Yankees, and he's a stone cold bastard. That guy is. He is on a one-way mission of revenge. He like blackmails a rape victim into helping her helping him find her rapist because he wants to kill him.
Oh my god!
It's just like, yeah, it gets dark.
Well, that explains the M rating, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not like blood and guts or boobs and whatever. It is all just like darkness of story content. But yeah, as if you're not super skilled, you should still be able to get through and enjoy that story, and then you can continue to improve and play in other modes. There's an arcade mode, which is more like a traditional, arcade shooting game. You just go through the levels, not so much the story and stuff. There's a score attack. There's a bunch of challenges. This was stuff they added in for the EX version, the challenges anyways. So that's been in versions of the game before. And that stuff is hard, but it's, it's more content there. The only thing that is new for the Switch version, there is a little competitive multiplayer, which you can bust off. You can do it with just one Joy-Con in hand. So it's one of those games. Yeah, you can just take the Joy-Cons off, hand it to your friend, and play it anywhere. It's just kind of like a simple little, like, you got a plane, each one of you has like a little plane. Well, I say plane, it's kind of like a little orb, and you're just trying to shoot each other out of the sky, and there's a bunch of different levels. And, it's just a fun little thing. Nice little bonus for the Switch version right there. But, the game looks great on that Switch screen. Most arcade shooters look better in a wider format. This game has great music. It's a great game. I love this game. I'm slightly shilling for it, but yeah, if you have not not played Cinemora on other platforms,
Well, here's the important question. On other platforms, the game is $19.99. On the
Sure is.
Switch, I'm guessing because there's a physical version coming out, and
It's fucking Switch tax, man.
yeah, it seems every game with the physical version is $10 more on the Switch because of manufacturing those cartridges.
Yep.
Is it still worth picking up at $30?
If you have a Vita, you'd probably be just as well getting it on there because that's portable and can fill all your needs. But if you don't have a Vita, like, the game is a fine purchase for $30, or if you feel like just waiting for a sale, like, that's fine too. That's just kind of the shitty thing about the Switch. In a vacuum, like, that's a fine price for a game. It's just annoying that you can look at other platforms and be like, God damn it.
Well, you did mention that bonus mode on the Switch.
Yeah.
Does that at least help alleviate the pain?
Oh, sure. A little bit, yeah. But that's the meat of the game is the single player that you can get on all platforms. That's just kind of a nice bonus for the Switch. But hey, nobody bought a Vita anyway, so fucking whatever. That's
fucking burn.
I mean, it's the truth. Come on, man.
I have my Vita. I love my Vita.
I got my Vita too. I love my Vita as well, but we are rare people.
The funny thing, everyone thinks I would hate the Vita for how much I shit on the PS4, but I fucking love the Vita so much.
It's a really nice
do.
system. Yeah, the
so
Switch is
goddamn
essentially replacing it because it's kind of doing the same stuff.
I know, and at least we know Nintendo will support this system.
Yeah, unlike Sony.
Anyway, Tim, thank you so much for covering these two games. Always good having you on the show.
Hell yeah.
Any final words to sum things up?
Nope, got nothing. Just going to watch some wrestling, and you all know what's happened by the time you hear this. But go Braun!
Braun! Delay things so that I could warm up my voice since I just napped.
Yeah.
Through the episode, I'll be like, hey guys, what's up everyone? And then middle of the show, I'll just be like, we're going to go from this, and then, all right, next game that we're going to talk about. Niche. Our friend Tom.
I mean, that's what I sound like all the time, so I don't have to worry about that.
I think Norg was saying that, like, he has the flu, so I can't wait to hear him later on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't realize he was on here.
Yeah, he's been doing some Switch reviews.
Oh, nice.
See, the things you miss when you don't listen to the show.
I know. I really got to get better with that.
I mean, to be fair, I do tag him in the episodes as well on Facebook.
Yeah, I think I've probably seen that before.
Oh, man. All right. So recording started, and let's get this over and done with. All right, moving on. Next game to talk about is called Niche, a genetic survival game developed and published by Stray Fawn Studio, released September 21st out of Steam Early Access for $18.99. Niche, a genetic survival game, is a turn-based strategy game combined with simulation and roguelike elements. Shape your own species of animals based on real genetics. Keep your species alive against all odds, such as predators, climate change, and spreading sickness. Our friend Tom Miller covered this one. Tom, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well today, Joe. Thanks for having me on Niche. I've been really loving this game so far.
Yeah, saw you play a video of it already. We tweetered that out and spread the joys of you playing a game.
Yeah.
I heard that you have a sequel that is just over about 15, 16 seconds long.
Well, we'll see about that. Maybe I could do some fancy editing, maybe slow down the video and get it padded out to 45 or so.
Sounds good. So what is Niche?
So Niche is a strategy survival game. It's all procedurally, well, some of it's not, like there are tutorial segments, but you're basically trying to grow your tribe up and to be able to survive. And so you start off just on an island with just two creatures, and you try to like progress your bloodline and meet up with other creatures and try to evolve traits that are favorable for your situation. So it's called a genetic survival game, and it really does. I mean, that kind of does sum it up because, you're trying to evolve your species and try to be able to survive against any of the elements. You have to deal with things like wildfires and starvation and trying to deal with predators and all that. But as harsh of a world as it may be, it's like one of the most relaxing and just like pleasant games to experience as well. I was just kind of immediately just charmed by the design. Like everything is so lush and colorful. The creatures themselves are just adorable, and some of them are incredibly derpy depending on how you evolve them. I had one with like 2 eyes that were pointing off in different directions and stuff, and it was pretty great. But just like the entire look of the game, it just like it puts you at ease, even though you're kind of at constant risk of dying. And the music and sounds are also great. The score to it, I just looked up the. Hang on, just a second here.
No, be prepared.
I know. Well, I was prepared until a couple seconds ago. It just gets you into just kind of in the zone, You can, and it just has like this really like organic feeling to it, and it kind of progresses as you go through the different islands that you travel through with your tribe. Like I got to one, and like there was this really cool like little string part that just faded in. It's just like, yeah, I'm making progress in the world. And then I think I died like a couple minutes after that, so maybe it got me in hubris mode a little bit. But I was really impressed actually by as simple as a lot of the mechanics are in the game, on the surface, there's a ton of complexity to it, and you have so many different traits and so many different little actions that your different characters can make that it really does bring a lot of strategy into it, and it's something that I'm looking forward to playing around with more as I play the game more, because there are so many different traits that you can build up over the generations and stuff, and you can also, it can kind of backfire. Like one time I had an offspring who had like no ability to get food in any way, and then it turned out that he was the last one of the bloodline. So I just kind of like knew that I was doomed for like several turns before I was actually doing that. Before I was actually done. So it can be kind of brutal, just like nature can in real life.
So is this meant to be kind of like a roguelike where you play for, say, half hour, 45 minutes, your game is over, and then you just start over the next time you play?
Well, it does have a bit of a roguelike element in that it is procedurally generated. It will be different every time. But really, I feel like if you're really good at the game, you can just kind of take it on and just kind of go forever with it. So I don't know. Like to me, it's almost like I don't know, like Sim City or something. Where, well, maybe that's not the best example. It's a simulation more than a roguelike. It's kind of like you're. The goal is to kind of be in it for the long game.
Right. I didn't know if it was kind of similar to something like Plague Inc., where you would play it for a set amount of time, and then the game is over either way, and then you start over again. Or if it was more of at least attempting to be a long-term kind of game, if you're good at it.
Yeah, no, I think you can
and you don't die in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think you can play it for as long as you are capable of keeping the chain going.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like the genetics thing is really cool, and I think. One really cool thing, I've just been looking at reviews of this, and like, it's kind of like, it's meant to be almost like an educational thing, and it doesn't shove it down your throat, but I've read reviews of like, people, it's like, my kid played this, and it got her interested in biology, and now she wants to learn more about it, and it's just like, I don't know, I love it when games can like inspire people to do stuff like that. And I remember stuff like that when I played like Sim Earth when I was a kid. It's like, I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
It's always good when games could get you involved in like real life situations and, actually learning things and trying to better your life.
Yeah, totally.
So I guess the big question here, $18. What's your thoughts?
I'd say it's definitely worth it. I mean, this is like one of the most like charming and relaxing games I've played so far this year, and I would absolutely recommend it to people who are fans of simulation or like survival style games. It's inspired a lot by stuff like they say "Don't Starve," and you've got some great inspiration from that. But in general, it's just a really cool, really fun and relaxing game, and I would definitely recommend it for people.
Sounds good. I believe at the beginning I said it was $18.99. Looking at Steam, it's $17.99, so I must have had my notes mixed up somewhere. But since you mentioned the soundtrack is available for another $4.
Yeah, and that's definitely worth it if you want to support the independent musicians out there. And there's some really very beautiful music in there, so I definitely would recommend that if you're interested.
All right, sounds good. Well, Tom, thank you so much for covering this one for us. I know we'll have you back on again soon, and I'm looking forward to more of the videos of you playing this and dying.
Yeah, I'll be I got a couple of them recorded, so they will be available soon.
All right, and finally tonight, our good friend Pernell Vaughn is joining. Pernell, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Weather's a little bit too hot for my taste, and this. Oh, God. It's 90-something degrees in September. I don't like it.
Seriously, what the hell?
But I'm under-rested due to playing great games, so I guess it balances out.
I mean, you mentioned the weather. It's like not even early September that it's still warm. It's like a late September, just about October, and it's 90 degrees out. Why?
Who's up for a Halloween pool party? Bring them swimsuits out. Sexy nurses. Now it makes sense.
Oh, it does.
See? Maybe there is a benefit to all this.
Anyway, we should probably talk games. First game that you're here to talk about tonight is called Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, developed by Spike Chunsoft, published by NIS America. It released September 26th on PS4, PS Vita, and Steam. I know it's $59.99 on PS4 and Steam. I think Vita's a little cheaper, as it usually is, but I don't know off the top of my head. A new cast of 16 characters find themselves kidnapped and imprisoned in a school. Inside, some will kill, some will die, and some will be punished. Reimagine what you thought about high-stakes, fast-paced investigation as you investigate twisted murder cases and condemn your new friends to death. Pernell, I know this has been a fairly popular series for quite a while. Does the new one hold up?
Well, before I even go on to that, what I'm going to lead out by saying is that if you are listening to this and you have not played Danganronpa 1 or 2, you should stop listening to this review. Listen to the podcast, but stop listening to this review and pick up 1 or 2 on whatever platform suits your interest most, because you'd be kind of cheating yourself to jump into this game without having played those 2 excellent titles. I do not believe that the game requires knowledge of the first 2 games from what I've experienced for the most part, but again, you'd be cheating yourself, and I'm almost positive by the end of the game something's going to happen. It's going to make me go, holy crap, I knew it, I freaking knew it. So just do it. Now, for the rest of you who are listening to this that have played Danganronpa 1 and 2 and is wondering, is this game, high school students killing each other, has this worn out its welcome? The answer to that is no. The game is still very fun. The game is still very entertaining, and the writing is still very much on point. So, a very quick start off to how this game is that you play the role of Kaede Akamada. She is known as the ultimate pianist. What the hell is that? Well, clearly every person in this school, 16 students, are attributed with some form of quote-unquote ultimate ability. And they range from anything as being mediocre, such as the ultimate swimmer, which was in the first game, to absurd things like the ultimate supreme leader, or the ultimate entomologist, or the ultimate robot, as they are in this game. So each of these characters has an ultimate ability, which in some may or may not factor into how they behave in the game, or something that takes place during the game related to that character. So the overall gimmick, without going into semantics here, is that you are locked in a school with all your fellow classmates, and a robotic bear is pretty much dictating that you have to, in order, you're locked in, you're trapped, you can't get out. And the only way to escape is to murder one of your classmates and then go to trial, because apparently that's what bears want people to do after they kill a friend. Go to trial and then get off scot-free without your classmates realizing that you did it.
Oh, so, again, I swear we get like 40 of these games a year anymore.
It's amazing, though, because at least for this series of game, it never gets old. They're like crack to me. I've given up sleep playing this game.
It's just such a unique premise and unique story. It's so off the wall and crazy. So what is the gameplay like?
Okay, so the game is broken up into a number of different sections. So initially you'll have a moment where I call it the exploration and social life phase, in which case you'll be kind of going through various story scenarios where you'll be talking to your classmates and advancing the plot of the game. And then after those, in between those different bits, you'll also occasionally get free roaming ability to kind of walk around the school and investigate different environments and just kind of get some flavor text for things, visit the school store, things of that nature. So, in addition to that, there is also the free time phase. Free time allows you to hang out with your classmates, like a sort of like kind of like a PD, not a PA, but a PA action, so personal action time, where you can kind of hang out with them, talk to them, and communicate, which will allow you to form bonds with them. This unlocks various story elements that allows you to learn more about the character that you're talking to, and you unlock little pellets or flower petals, which I'll get into later on in this review. So you have that component of the game. Then you have, after someone gets murdered, dun dun dun, you go into what is called the investigation phase. The investigation phase is when you explore the crime scene, you talk to your fellow classmates about what they may or may not have seen, and you kind of put together a boutique of evidence. Then you go into the awesome part of the game. Well, the whole game's awesome, but the best part of the game, the trial, the class trial. And what happens there is you and all of your other classmates are in a circular formation, and you are, how to describe it, because this is an insane concept for a game, but you go into a trial debate phase period where you're trying to dole out who the killer was. And a number of different mini games take place in this. Now, I'm not going to go over all of them because we'll be here all freaking night, but the most common one is known as the nonstop debate. And what happens here is your character loads up, every time someone has a statement in their discussion, the words will shoot across the screen like a string of text. And every once in a while when people talk over them, pink text will cross over that, kind of obscuring the words. And all this dialogue will continue to take place throughout a series of statements. While this is happening, you have a gun loaded with truth bullets. Truth bullets are actual depictions of evidence that you were given or that you've discovered throughout the investigation. And your goal is to literally shoot a hole in someone's lies of testimony. So if someone says, I was there at 5 o'clock, you can't pin that on me, but you had camera footage showing them somewhere else at 5 o'clock, the bullet will say, Jim at sauna at 5 o'clock. You basically aim the gun at aim the reticle at the statement, hit the trigger, bam, you shoot at them. The guy goes, no, you lie, son of a bitch. And here's what's really going on, and they'll lead down the story pipe a little bit further. New element to this game, though, compared to the other ones, though, is that now you're allowed to commit perjury sometimes. Every once in a while, you will find yourself in a situation where you are unable to get by with the truth. You have to tell a lie. So what will happen there is you have to hold down the button, and the bullet will turn into a lie instead, and then you will hit the trigger, and you'll shoot a lie into it, and they'll take the game down what's known as a back route. And it will kind of go an alternate route to kind of explain what the heck's going on and lead you to ultimately the truth. So the game is pretty much telling you sometimes you have to lie to get to the truth. Interesting concept. Then there are other aspects of this game too, such as like Psych Taxi, where the game makes you drive through a series, like a sort of outrun style mini game where you're driving through letters to create questions, and then you're hitting hitchhikers with your car to answer questions. It's so bizarre, but it freaking works, I swear. So, like, you'll hit a bunch of things and it'll say, so what happened today at, what was used to strangle the victim? And then there'll be 3 hitchhikers on the road, each with a text bubble above their head. And you have to run over the one that has the right text bubble. If you run over the wrong one, you kill her. If you run over the right one, she gets in your car and you keep driving.
Oh, these games are always insane.
And that's what makes it so sweet, though. Like, there's a number of different minigame add-ons. There's Psych Taxi. There is another minigame whose name I don't recall right now, where when both sides of the court are evenly split, the game will kind of divide the courtroom, and then you'll have like two sets of like rockets. The rockets will have keywords on them. The opposing sides will all be hidden, and your sides will be all present. And when your opposing person makes an argument, you have to figure out which of your bullets is the key word related to their statement. Select it, hit the button, and you'll counter their argument. And then once you've countered all their arguments in one go, you fire a final rocket where you have to mash a bunch of buttons to shoot their argument off the screen.
Oh, my Lord.
There's just so much to say about this. It's so weird. But essentially, once you go through all of that, you get to the end component where the game will ask you to determine, who's the guilty party. Place your vote. By this point in the game, though, you know who the hell the guilty party is because they make sure that they go down that road hard. But then you have to place a vote, and if your team is right, then the guilty party gets a pretty grotesque execution because Monokuma, who is the bear, does not frickin' screw around. And if you lose, well, clearly you'll get executed along with every other classmate but the blackened, which is the person who commits the murder. So, and that is essentially the game. It's a constant loop of those situations. What do I feel about the game, though? Spec-frickin-tacular. Because just like the previous Danganronpa games, you really have no idea who's going to die. You could be befriending a person one day, and the very next day they just committed a murder, and you had no clue they did it. I'm going to flat out say right now, and I basically just challenge to anybody who plays this game that's listening to the show, if you finish the first case of the game, and you say you predicted it, you're full of shit. No one's going to predict the end of the first case. Nobody will. I thought I was badass and I was going to do it. I was way off. So way off. In fact, I don't think I've played a game that has done this to a player in the gameplay, in the story mode of the game. I've never seen it happen. So
nice.
It's freaking awesome. And the fact that they did it on the third game says they still have some ideas up their sleeves.
That's really cool. Well, I know you said earlier that fans of the series are probably going to love this as they've loved the others. And then you also recommended newcomers to the series should check out the older ones first. If that's not an option, is this still a good one to start with?
I would say so. I guess one of the things where it's like, the type where it's like saying, hey, would you, let me think, like, I can't say Mario Bros. Because all Mario Bros. Games are awesome on their own. They don't follow each other. But I'm trying to think of games that ultimately follow one after another, where to play the later game is still fun, but then it'll be a little weird to go back and play the old ones. Okay, think of like a TV show, okay? Let's say, I'm just going to go with Shoot.
It would be like starting at like season 4 of Game of Thrones and then going back and watching the early seasons.
That's a good way to do it, because I'm guessing if you started at season 4, you'd still could be very much entertained, but you lose all the backstory that built up who the characters are and the universe that you're in and stuff like that. And who's to say that when you go back to watch the old stuff, it won't be as solid to you? Like, because sometimes you can go back and watch stuff after the fact and go, that's why that happened, or now I get that. And it works, but it's always a risk, because you might be like, well, I've been here before. These guys aren't important. I got to the end game already, so the journey's not an issue anymore. So, but I will just flat out say, just for the sake of semantics, yes, this game is definitely playable if you have not played the other two, but you'd be cheating yourself to not try those two. Like, whether you play this one first or last, do not play this one and say, well, I guess I don't have to play the first and second game anymore, because you'd be a fool. No lie there. This has been one of my favorite series in the last 10 years. Easy. It's worth your time and your money to play.
Nice. So officially for $60 on PS4 and Steam, I looked it up, $40 on Vita. What is your verdict?
Buy it. I will say one thing that's worth mentioning, because I came across it. I'm not sure if it was because of the review copy or what, but if you're a type that does save scumming on situations like in this case, save scumming in a court case, so that if you kind of screw up, you don't kind of go further in with like low health or whatever. I came across a weird glitch that would occur sometimes where if I reloaded the case and started it back up after saving it, I would still get all the dialogue and the text blocks would still be there, but the picture would be completely black. Huh. And I'd have to start that entire case over again. I don't know what triggers it. I don't know why it's there, but I just wanted to warn people, if you're a save scum guy, don't overwrite your save. Have one save file for the intro to the court case, or maybe alternating ones back and forth between two to make sure that you don't kind of screw yourself over.
Interesting. Well, hopefully they know what the source of that is, and it'll be squashed for launch, because technically we're recording this before the launch on Tuesday, even though you're hearing it for the launch. Why do I explain that? Like, people don't fucking know that this show isn't like what?
We're doing it live. Fuck it.
Oh man. Anyway, next game to talk about. I'm gonna do an email one to give you a break for a few minutes. But the Solus project, developed and published by Grip Digital, it released September 19th on PS4 and PlayStation VR for $19.99. Previously available on a bunch of other platforms. It is the year 2183. Earth is dying and mankind's last hope just crash landed on an uncharted planet. Without resources, without hope, without help, you'll have to look for supplies, map the surrounding areas, look after your health, and explore the planet in an attempt to find a way to send a signal back home. Our friend Greg Middleton wrote in a review for this one, and I'm going to check that out now. He says, from the opening, you learn Earth is no more and you are crashing down onto an unknown planet. As soon as you are given control, you quickly realize you're lonely. And he said, he spelled your, like your, Y-O-U-R, twice. Oh, Greg, you're breaking my balls, Greg. Breaking my balls. I immediately had feelings of fear and also curiosity of my surroundings. The best way I would describe a game like this is first-person walking simulator survival. And you are quickly presented with a little palm device that tells you your hunger, thirst, body temperature, and many other stats. Without really knowing you're in a tutorial of sorts, God damn it. You're told how to gather resources and make fire, then you're set free. And he did it right there. He had the right you're on that one. Greg.
Maybe autocorrect. It might be autocorrect.
Maybe. Still, breaking my balls. I found this game to be really interesting and found myself playing it and even thinking about it afterwards for quite a while. The fact that your only hope you are, yes, good, okay, he got that one. The fact that you're the only hope for the human race really does make your movements, correct there as well, more intense and cautious in this desolate landscape. I've played a fair amount of this game and still have not completed the story yet, but that's okay because I feel this game is as long as you want it to be. You can spend time on the beach that you begin the game at, looking at the amazing perpetual horizons, or in the underground caves searching for more clues and secrets. I was never bored of the surroundings. Graphics are good, with only some objects and environments being a little low in texture quality. Sound is really good, with the beautiful soundtrack that plays during the quieter moments, to then loud storms and tornadoes that come crashing through my speakers. I get a real No Man's Sky vibe when playing this, and I think some people will think this is what No Man's Sky should have been when searching planets. Now, this game is also PSVR compatible, and yes, I did try the mode out, and it is good. The one thing the VR mode does best is to really create an immersive experience, probably one of the best immersive experiences I've had on PSVR, and oh boy is it creepy in VR. There were moments I didn't want to walk into a cave due to how dark and eerie it looked. Now, the issue I have with VR mode was the controls. The move controllers are the only option I could see at the main menu, and upon playing I noticed how clunky and confusing some of the simple actions were to do, especially the inventory system when crafting two items together or remembering which button drops an item or to place back in your backpack. Maybe these are things I would pick up with more playtime, but due to the lower graphics and control issues, I will and have been playing mostly in standard non-VR with the DualShock controller. Grip Digital have built a planet that you can explore and get lost in. It's a survival game at heart, and the default settings have difficulty at 100%, which can be tough as I died pretty quickly from hypothermia. But once you learn about the mechanics and how the game works, you appreciate what the developers have built and also feel rewarded for surviving another night. This is a buy it. Really enjoying my time with this and do recommend it. A good experience with the VR option included. Also, the game has a save 20% PS Plus discount currently running through October 2nd in the UK, October 3rd in the US, so you have no excuse. Go discover a new world and save the human race. Thank you, Greg, for that. Typos and all, and my inability to read as well. Oh, man. Anyway, last game to talk about is called Blackguards 2, developed by Daedalic Entertainment, published by Kalypso Media Digital. It released September 19th on Xbox One and PS4 for $39.99. Cassia, a young woman of noble descent, wants to claim the Shark Throne no matter the price, and if only for one day. Unfortunately, there are two problems that potentially foil her plans. First of all, she spends her days incarcerated in a dungeon, and secondly, there's already a man on the throne, Marwan. She intends to break out of prison and overthrow Marwan to claim the throne herself. For this, she needs to recruit an army of sellswords and rally the vanquishers of the 9 hordes around her. Sounds like a solid plan, doesn't it? But then again, how cunning must one be to escape the dungeon's walls, and how reckless must one be to gather and command the worst scum of the realms? Purnell, what did you think of Blackguards 2?
At first, I was like, I wasn't quite feeling it initially because of some issues that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But I came away with an interesting perception on this game. So I'm already pretty much a big fan of hex strategy games. Single unit hex strategy games. So the idea of doing this review kind of was right up my alley. So the idea behind this initially is that, as Joe had mentioned, or as you had mentioned, you are a princess or a noble woman, because they don't even say, who has fallen from grace and is locked in a prison cell. And essentially, after losing her freaking marbles, she needs to escape and just kill everybody. Become a chosen leader. Because why the hell not? She deserves that, right? So initially the game revolves around you just trying to make an escape out of this prison that you're locked into. And that gives you the general beginnings of the rules to the game. And what this is that you're pretty much just like hex-based strategy game where you're pretty much moving your unit a series of spaces equivalent to a speed stat that your character has. If you move half that number of spaces, you are afforded a second action in combat, such as using an item, opening a chest, or fighting. But if you use the entirety of that, you drain your entirety of your speed and energy for that round, and you can't do anything else. So every round, this is what takes place as far as dealing with combat. And when you open treasure chests on the map, unlike a lot of other games of the strategy, RPG single unit movement games, you don't get loot the moment you open the chest. What actually happens is when you open it up and then finish the level, the game will accrue AP points and additionally various items depending on how many chests you open during the run of the map. Sometimes there'll be a lot of chests, sometimes there won't be very many at all. AP points, what the hell are those? Well, they're your basic skill points that the game will afford you to buff up your character. And this can only be done in I would say, like the hub environment when you have either a scholar or a particular book, which you have at the beginning of the game, to allocate your points to. One thing I didn't like about this game, which is more so a personal slight, I don't think it's going to hurt the game for a lot of other people, is that initially they give you access to a lot, and I mean a lot of options for Cassia, because she is, I guess, supposed to be your jack-of-all-trades potential character. So they do at least kind of in the tutorial give you an example of like different stat builds you'd want to provide for different types of characters. So, for example, a melee fighter, they suggest things like using throwing weapons or boosting their something called body control, which keeps them from being knocked down. Vitality for health. Endurance is what allows you to use physical attacks in the game. So if you use a special ability, your endurance takes a dive in exchange for that. Whereas with a mage, you have to buff up arcane energy. Arcane energy is the magic ability, magic power, MP rather, that you use to use spells. Buff up different spell power and range of effects, and various other things such as, I don't know, type of armor you want to wear even, because based on the type of class of character that you build up, they can only use certain types of armor, and if you use like heavy armor on a mage, you take a penalty towards your arcane life. Things of that nature. I'm not going to go into a myriad of dialogue on this. Just know that there are 3 basic builds: melee fighters, ranged fighters, mages. And you build out all their stats. As you progress through the dungeon and eventually escape, you will then eventually start proceeding to acquire additional members to your brigade with which to eventually take on your mission to conquer the kingdom. And when you find these individual guys, just to give you a quick summary, which isn't really a spoiler, these people are essentially gladiators that fought in the original arena of combat that you were pretty much trapped under for a number of years. You are looking for these people to join you in your army. And as you recruit each one, they kind of start out with a default build of sorts as far as like where their skill points went to, but they are still open book characters for the most part. I mean, I had a dwarf that couldn't use magic, but for the most part, everybody seemed to have access to almost everything. So if you're one that can be easily overwhelmed with abilities to allocate stats to, I'm sorry. The best I can recommend to you is use that tutorial, and when they get to the part that explains what each type of character should be using, write that crap down on a piece of paper and adhere to it like a gnat.
Yeah, I put some time into the game myself, and I had the same issue where I went through the tutorial section in the beginning, and I was like, I feel like I made a mistake with my skill points. And I went back and redid the entire tutorial just so I could readjust what I did with my skill points. And decision paralysis is terrible.
You should have just did what Purnell did. Spend none of it and just play hard mode throughout. And it was not easy. But I got played a bit into it without using any of my skill points. And then eventually I started there was a couple times where I felt like I had to burden the bare minimum, such as to use something called animal lore and human lore, which is the only way you can even see how many hit points, arcane energy points, and endurance points your opponents have. So you kind of ultimately realize you have to have that on somebody. Otherwise, you're just fighting blind.
Well, the good thing is, like, at least in the beginning of the game, they shower the skill points on you like crazy so that you can check everything out and find stuff that you're comfortable with.
That is true. I think she had about 4,000 on me at one point, which was just nuts at the beginning of the game, I thought. So you could pretty much give level 1 to everything if you really wanted to, and just kind of like, oh, I wonder how that works, and just dabble in it. So it's an awesome concept as long as you're able to deal with that analysis paralysis bid. I like the fact that the main character is actually loony, but also not quite loony. So some of the dialogue that she'll have is generally humorous, though I think it's going to come back to bite her in some respects because she seems to be very fond of over-promising things to people. And I'm not sure she can deliver on all of her promises. Though the game itself, even at the very beginning of the story, already says she's known for over-promising things. So it's almost funny that that's what her character is doing in the game, too. But the funny thing about this game, though, is that I was playing it and just kind of being content with what I was doing. But then once you get to a certain point, the game actually opens up a little bit more, and it becomes a lot bigger. What ends up happening is once you recruit a fairly sizable army of units, yeah, that works, you get to a world map environment. And it starts to kind of play a little like how Dragon Force used to play back in the day. In which case what happens is you have a camp that you start at, a base camp, and you can purchase mercenaries. You can purchase equipment for your mercenaries, and you can, interrogate prisoners there that you acquire in your travels, and basically just build up a small army. And then from there, you have to conquer properties that the opposing army has as you make your way to your ultimate destination per each mission. I'm guessing those missions are pretty much to recruit the other members of that horde. So what ends up happening is when you find a location, you can only attack locations adjacent to the location that you already own. But once you attempt to take one, they have various rewards attributed to each one, which allows you to better choose where you want to go. Sometimes it'll allow you to get new equipment options for your merchants to sell. Sometimes you'll be able to acquire new mercenaries to hire for work if you win the territory. But essentially, there's different difficulties, different unit loadouts, and different rewards for beating territories. Every time you enter one, what happens is then you have to choose the units that are going to go into battle for you. You have story characters that can enter, you have mercenaries that can enter, but you also have to choose a hodgepodge of all of those things, which you can then take into combat that will function in a similar hex-based grid system. And every 3 turns, more or less, of you taking an action and taking over territories, succeed or fail, the enemy unit can do the same thing. I think he only gets like 1 or 2, though, more or less. I don't remember. But essentially, he can also attack properties that you own and try to take them over from you. So there will be a lot of skirmishes taking place in this game. Get your freak on and get ready to throw down. It'll be fun, though, I promise. So this game is honestly pretty cool. It's strangely unique. I did suck at following some of it here and there as far as like the dialogue goes, because quite frankly, there was a lot, again, there were names I didn't recognize, and they were kind of doing that thing where games will jump around environments and they expect you to already be familiar with the world you're exploring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're now in Dungledork and you're trying to recruit Jinglejank. Hey, Jinglejank, fight tigers and woolly bullies. Why? Because I want you to. Why does he have tigers? Or whatever, fuck it. They just kind of expect you to know. And it's not necessarily a bad thing for the game as a whole, but it could be weird for someone who's a stickler for following and keeping up with the details. But there is also a compendium of information, so they do at least kind of give you a little bit of a side bet to read over and get a little bit more detailed information on each character if you choose to read it. So, but I don't know. I honestly enjoyed this game. Definitely enjoyed it more than I expected to, which, even though people may not think that sounds like a good compliment, it actually is to me. For someone like me, when I say that, that's a compliment. Because when I get jaded, I stay jaded. So to be pulled out of that and find myself enjoying a title, that's good stuff. So I would say it's good. I think it's a good product. I think it's worth the money if you're into this type of game and you don't have any on your plate at present. Because unfortunately, the world is aflutter with them right now. But I'll admit there's very few that are hex-based.
Yeah.
And very few that combine territory/area control with hex-based combat. So that's a unique thing this game's got going for it, too.
Nice. And then I want to throw something out there as well for achievement whores out there. This is probably not going to be a good game to start if you're looking for a quick completion, because after I peruse the achievements a little bit, I noticed there's a lot of things for like beating the game without making any good decisions, beating the game without making any bad decisions, beating the game where like this person lives, this person dies, this person is like, there are so many alternate path achievements in the game that you're going to go nuts trying to get a complete 1,000 out of 1,000 on this. But I think the people that do it, that's going to be a very rewarding completion.
I kind of like when games that sometimes, depending on how it goes, because this is one of those games where it's a lot of detail that goes into it, a lot of time. So your achievement list is almost more like tracking your route through the game. Like, what did you personally do? Mm-hmm. I did this, went here, did this. Oh, in my game, this guy died. Well, in your game, he lived. What did you do? And you can message the friend and ask what the hell was going on. And you can just kind of discuss back and forth what this guy did differently from you.
Yeah. But it's good to see games like this encourage replayability instead of just like one and done.
Yeah, that's true. In a world where no one's got money, but everybody's releasing like 20 games a month. It's good that you can just hammer down on one and just play it over and over so you get some more money in your pocket.
Yeah. I will say, though, between Blackguards and Dungeons 3, which is coming out later on in October, but I know our friend Royal talked about it earlier in this episode. He did a preview of the Steam release of it. Seems like Kalypso's got some good shit coming out.
Oh, Kalypso did both of them?
Yep.
Oh, intriguing.
Yeah, you should keep an eye on Dungeons 3 when that one comes out.
I may have to if I'm not still playing Blackguards.
So anyway, Blackguards, $40. What is your official verdict on this one?
If you're down with hex-based combat, and you're okay with the idea of mixing that with a little bit of area control, and you don't suffer from analysis paralysis, I say go ahead and grab it up.
Sounds good.
Don't quote me on this, but please, I need to play a game that I need to deny. I need to know that I'm not just a slave to any game. I need to know that there are some crappy games out there that I'm going to deny. Like, you can't play this. Don't waste your effort.
Well, I can't promise anything, but next game that looks really bad that comes through, I'll keep you in mind.
Please do. I know I'm kicking myself in the foot for saying that, but I need to know that I'm not just okay with every game on the market.
Oh, man. Anyway, Purnell, thank you so much for dropping by and chatting games with me. We're going to take one more quick break because, yes, this is a double interview episode. We will be back with David Amador of Upfall Studios to chat about his game Quest of Dungeons, which we've covered numerous times on the show in the past, and is even in our Hall of Fame, and it just released on the Switch, so we're going to talk about it again.
Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
You have one of those?
Motherfucker, don't you listen to this show? Oh, wait, no one does. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for hanging around. A long episode so far, but it's only going to get better as we go, as I am joined by two more guests right now. First off, guest co-host for this segment of the show, our good friend Ryan Underwood. Wood, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good.
How's Germany?
Sucks.
Why? Is the weather?
It's the weather. It's just like I don't speak German, so it makes it a lot harder.
Well, you gotta learn.
Dude, do you know how hard it is to learn another language?
I did like 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I remember a couple words.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then also joining us, welcome back to the show, David Amador. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me again.
It is
actually, I know the language of the country I am, so I'm doing better than Ryan, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Well, you normally live there. He moved there.
That makes sense. Yeah, I normally live here.
You're where? Portugal?
Portugal, that's right, in Lisbon.
Nice.
How's the weather there?
It's better today. We have a couple of rainy days, but it's doing better now. So I guess we're back to the more summery time, so to speak.
Oh, summer. I'm ready for winter. I'm ready to just bring on the cold.
Oh no, sir, not me.
Well, I'm fat, so I'm allowed to hate heat.
Oh, that's fair. I'm from California, so yeah, I'm not used to it at all.
Anyway, David, you were here because last time you were on the show, you were here to talk about your game Quest of Dungeons when it first came out on the Xbox 360. It's been about 2 years now, and you were here to talk about your game Quest of Dungeons, which now just released on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, a whole new game. No, it's not. It's the it's the same game. Well, actually, it's different, but it's pretty much the same game. But it just I had the opportunity to release it on Nintendo Switch, so I decided to do it because I think it suits better in the portable mode to play it, and Switch has that thing where you can play it on the TV or wherever you are, and I decided to do it. Last year I released it for the 3DS, and people like the portable factor, so
you're just sticking with it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was it started as a kind of business decision because the Wii U version didn't do that great, so I ended up losing money there. So what happened was the timing wasn't that great. I released the game around 20 days before they announced the Switch itself, the device. So that video they did that. So what happened was that immediately the attention and all the players were like, so we're going to get this for Switch, or so they hold on buying it, hoping that it would be ported to the new console. So because no one likes to buy a game on a device then rebuying it several times, right? So people just waited it. So I decided, okay, so I'm going to try to make a version for Switch. I talked to Nintendo. The 3DS was doing okay, so I gave it a try.
I like the fact that you point out people don't like to rebuy the game on multiple platforms, as I have already had the game on the Xbox One, and then it came out on PlayStation, so I got that, and then it came out on 3DS, so I have it there. I believe I have the Wii U version as well. I know I have it on Steam, and I bought the Switch version.
You're a good customer. You're a great customer.
Well,
no, I mean, but actually, that's interesting because I have a lot of people that tell me that they bought the game several times, but that's someone that I have people that love the game and people that don't end up not liking it. But if it's your first time buying the game, you're not thinking about rebuying the game, so I can understand the decision of a customer seeing that the platform they're gonna buy it's ending like in a month.
Yeah.
So it was hard to pitching it like, oh, so buy it now, so like, but no.
And then again, long-time listeners of the show will probably recognize the fact that every time we would talk about indie games on the show, I would find some way to circle back around to, oh man, well, I enjoyed the game. I kind of enjoyed it on a level of like how I really, really loved Quest of Dungeons, to the point that it inspired us to create the SML Hall of Fame with our 300th episode. And of course, I contacted you because Quest of Dungeons was one of the first games we inducted into the SML Hall of Fame. So I need to know, now that I have you on in person, how does it feel getting that fake award?
It feels great. Awards are great, right? Even if it's kind of a fake one. No, I enjoy it. When you emailed me saying that, I was really, because it's something that I made, and you never know how people are going to react to the game. So when they genuinely like it, it's not just, oh, okay, so I covered the game and they move along like to another game. So that's it's kind of, I'm lacking the proper word here, but to express myself, but it feels great. It feels good.
Yeah, just something magical about this game that I always find myself unable to put it down, or I'll always come back to it, find new opportunities to just bust it out and play some more. Wood, this is your first time playing the game, correct?
Yes, it is.
What do you think about it?
It's fun. It's already got my first death.
I'm not shocked.
Oh, yeah, I am not shocked in the least. It's just like, oh, I can take this. Nope. I can't take this.
Was it the sign, or was it just regular monsters? I'm curious to know.
It was actually one of the bosses. Like, it's thinking like, oh, I got this. I can do this. No, it was just a little too much.
How far have you gotten?
Floor 2.
Floor 2. Wow, you got a lot of work to go.
Yuppers.
Then again, I've been playing this game since it released on the Xbox One, so about 2 years now, and I still can't fucking beat it with the Necrodancer.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a thing. And 2, I just died on the first floor to the boss there. Whew.
Yeah, it can be tough sometimes. It is definitely a game that's going to make you work for it.
Yes, it is.
So, David, over the 2 years that this has been out now, all the different platforms that have happened, what kind of changes have you made through the versions of the game? How have you grown with the ports that you make? Any kind of differences that there are from game to game?
Yeah, there are always some slight difference, especially now with probably not Switch, because it's more close to a traditional platform. Only the only difference that you can play portable or on the TV. But for the 3DS and the Switch, the Wii U version, I had to change a lot because you have dual screens on both devices. But people are kind of expecting something slightly different. So because on the 3DS you have two screens close to each other. On the Wii U you have the gamepad screen, but a lot of people don't like to constantly switch between one and another, the television and the gamepad screen. So I had to actually, the 3DS took me almost as much time as I did with the Xbox version, because I added a lot of content. Because I couldn't fit the Xbox game traditional buttons into the touchscreen of the 3DS, the bottom screen. I wanted to use it. I wanted to feel like it's something made for the 3DS instead of just a map on the bottom screen that kind of updates when you move. So I had to redo. Yeah, I had to redo a lot. So that took a lot of time. So that was a big change. So there's some differences there to accommodate. But the gameplay is pretty much the same. I grew more in terms of technical know-how because I've worked with a bunch of platforms now. So that was the main, like, making sure the game grew up more and making sure it fits the platform. It's not just hacked away, so to speak, because I kind of hate when I play a game that doesn't use whatever the platform had, like the platform pitch, for example, the touchscreen or whatever the device is. And I'm proud that I managed to use Street Pass on the 3DS version, which the Switch doesn't have. It's a shame, a bit of a shame. But so you know the ghosts that you can find when you die.
Yeah.
So the Street
I
Pass.
do now.
Oh, you do now.
Did you just run into yourself?
No, not yet.
So what I did was I used Street Pass for that. So if you pass someone on the street, you exchange items and ghosts with the other person. I think that's a kind of neat feature. So those were the difference. So the core gameplay, I stuck with it. It's pretty much the same because people seem to like how it plays.
That is really, really cool that you could street pass people in this game. Just street pass just random strangers that you would walk past in the world?
Yeah, as long as they have the game, you can street pass someone.
That's
cool.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, that's a super nice feature.
I honestly didn't know that this game had that feature, so that is really, really neat.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that Nintendo didn't bring that feature to Switch because it's a portable device as well. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how much it was used on the 3DS. I have a couple of games that use them, but I don't know how widespread it is. I don't know if people even activate that. So
I know for me, like I ran into that feature a lot when I was living in Japan. Like that was honestly a feature that was like prevalent there because you took the train everywhere. So you get on a train and you get off, and then like by the time you get to your destination or your next hop, you already have 10 people you ran into.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much in the States because like that was more like, wait, why did I drop that? No, pick that up. Sorry. No, in the States, like the only time you run into Street Pass more often was like, at a GameStop or mostly conventions. You go to conventions and like, it was very prevalent there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame because it's not so much like it wasn't used as much in the States, but big time in Japan.
And you've spent a lot of time in Japan, so if anyone would have spent a lot of time doing stuff with Street Pass in Japan, it would be you.
Yes, that is correct. Also, burning bats is pretty fun. Don't go ahead and quote me on that. Actually, go ahead and quote me on that.
There you go. We'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Just like quotation marks, burning bats is pretty fun. Dash wood.
So what other unique features did the various versions of the game had? I mean, you just mentioned that the 3DS version had Street Pass. Did any of the other versions have anything special? So
the Switch version has a whole new mansion with a couple different themes and monsters. I also added an in-game the achievement system, actually, really, because none of the Nintendo consoles has them. So I added in-game because a lot of people like to track that down. So I added it, but the Xbox version has, the PlayStation version has the. There's some Easter eggs on that started on the PlayStation version. I don't know if you spent enough time with the Switch version to found it, but there's a mini game hidden from since the PlayStation version. I don't know if a lot of people found it, but I don't want to spoil it either. So
what kind of mini game?
It's Snake basically. It's
okay.
It's Snake. So you have to finish the game. You have to insert a combination of buttons, and you hear a sound, and then you can play a little bit of Snake. I made that since the beginning, like the PC version had that code, but it was never activated. So I made that out of fun because I wanted to include the minigame, but I ran out of time, and I never like finished it, and I forgot about it. So this like in January, I was preparing the PlayStation version, and I was like cleaning up some code because I was running into some issues, and I found a file that said Snake minigame, and was like, yeah, I need to finish this and release it. So I don't think many people realized it, but what I did was to force some people to find it, and I knew it could turn into a problem. It's an achievement on PlayStation. So if you want the Platinum trophy, you have to find the Snake game.
Oh man,
that's awesome, pretty great.
Girl. Yeah.
So what happened was I started getting emails like right away because people take the achievements seriously, and I do as well, like trophies in this case. So what happened was like the name the name is something like alternate reality, and that doesn't exist on the Steam version, so people couldn't find how to do it. So this is not as actually new feature of the game. It's just something like a side mini game that I made out of fun. So that's in the Switch version as well. But the game itself, it was just that, like tweaks. You talked about the Necrodancer. I tweaked the Necrodancer a little bit for the Switch version. Like it's a bit more powerful, but not much. My initial goal with that character was to make it like it's a tough character. It's an unlockable tough character to play with.
Yeah, it's still the only character I haven't beaten the game with, so I definitely know it's tough. Son of a bitchin' thing.
Yeah. The original game is tough as well. I haven't finished it in Crypt of the Necrodancer, so.
Oh man, that game is brutal. It is so tough to get through. Do you have any plans on like updating the Xbox version of the game with that Snake minigame?
I don't know. To be honest, this is part of me being scared of breaking something because
yeah.
Because the game is stable. It has the content. People haven't complained about any major bugs that I'm aware of. And I'm afraid to launch a patch with just a minigame that people, like 95%, won't even notice and break stuff. I'm really afraid of this.
That's fair.
So unless it's like something major that I added to the game, I would patch it. But I don't know if that's gonna end up there.
That makes sense.
Because I might update the PC version with that minigame because it's easier for me to patch. I don't have like a certification process, so I can patch it.
Yeah.
But going through weeks of certification for that, I don't think so. Not right now.
I've heard like that's certification process for developers is just a pain. Just because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money to go through, unfortunately. Yeah.
So if I miss something, it can be something as simple like a random text that's not correct to the guidelines, and it goes back, and it's like just switching something in a Word file, but it takes a couple of more weeks, so it definitely adds up with the costs.
It's like that GIF online that shows when you try inserting a picture into a Word file, and like you expect it to have a nice border around it and all the text fits around it perfectly, but in reality you put the picture there and then just everything explodes.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm curious to know, how do you access the Snake minigame? Because I played the Switch version. I beat the Switch version already using the Archer because I'm a cheap bitch and that's the best way to get the hang of the game. And I looked in the stats screen and that's where I noticed that there was a Snake minigame for it. And I saw it had like a handful of different letters after it. I'm like, what does that mean? Does NG, is that like New Game Plus? And then it had LR and I believe A. So it's like, okay, maybe I hold the triggers and hit A somewhere. I couldn't figure it out. So is there a method that you specifically need to do it?
You want the spoilers or
Spoil it for me, baby. Spoil it.
Spoil it. Okay, so you have to finish the game as you mentioned. And then, if you notice, it started. Let me see if I have it the correct. So it's Konami code. It's the Konami code. So
okay.
So that should narrow it down. So it's the Konami code. Then you should hear a sound. It's when you start the game. There's like that press save button or connect the controller.
Yeah.
Do the Konami code, and you'll hear a coin sound. After that, it's the NG. It's like new game. Then you start with the Necro Dancer, so I can make sure that you actually finish the game once at least.
Dude, why'd you put a kill button here, dude? Like I saw a prompt on the friggin' sign. It's just like I just died.
I'm so happy you discovered that button during this show.
Oh my god, why'd you do that? Like, don't get me wrong, Snake's fun. I
asked you that like at the beginning if you found the sign and you told me no, so that was funny right now.
I'm not even mad.
I am so incredibly happy that just happened.
Because I was going to do a good run. I was playing the wizard, the Resident Evil bosses. Like, dude, I feel boss. And then they're just, hey, what's this sign do? Blah.
It kills you. Yep.
Oh man, you're.
So I guess that leads to the question: why did you put that sign in the game?
The sign has a serious side and a joke side. So the joke is because I thought it would be funny, like killing you instantly. The serious part is that you wouldn't believe. There's a lot of people that start playing the game without realizing the permadeath part, that you get wrecked and you have to start all over again, and that can be frustrating if you're not aware of that. So during beta testing, what I found out was a lot of people wouldn't read my email. They will just download the game, play it, and oh man, I played like 1 hour and I pressed and I got and I died and I have to restart. This is not. So I made that sign at the beginning. A lot of people press the sign, they have to restart, and they realize, oh, okay, so I have to start all over again, and they play a little bit with more caution. So you have that downside that some people go like the left side of the dungeon, and they backtrack and they forgot and they press the sign like you just happened to you.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like it's like, oh, there's a prompt on here, but I find it very clever that that's your introduction to the game rules, which is just by the way, does it permadeath? And to get it out so early is like, oh, well, that sucks. Instead of like, dude, I made like 2 hours progress and I was like too powerful, and then I pressed the sign and I died.
This is bullshit.
I'm one of the rare few people that know about these type of games. So like, it's like, oh, okay, I already knew I was gonna die anyways. In fact, I died before I pressed the sign, so I was like, whatever. Not be mad.
Yeah, because a lot of people are aware of that now, but the game was released in 2014. There aren't as many people as today that are aware of the whole set of rules of roguelikes. So I made that because a lot of people thought, this doesn't save our lives or whatever, so that's out there. So most people press that right away. It's like the first thing they do when they die.
I am so fucking happy you did that on the show, Ryan.
Here to please, man. It's all knows. If it makes you feel better, I'm doing terrible at this game. Like in the time we've talked, I'm on my 4th dude.
That's not too bad.
Are you playing on normal or hard or?
Whatever the default is.
It's normal. It's the normal setting.
When you select a character, they have difficulty settings at the bottom. You should probably try it on easy until you get the hang of everything.
Oh no, that's not happening.
Or try using the assassin. Try using the assassin.
I did. I ran into a dragon and died.
Did you try fighting him like hand to hand?
No, it's just like it got to a point where like no, I was low on health. I tried shooting him, and then he got one square too close. It's like, oh, this is it. This is how I die.
It's all about learning the dickish way to take care of enemies. Like, walk backward, because he'll just follow you at a normal pace. Walk backward until you get to a set of stairs. Go up the steps, go back down, and then go wherever opposite he is. Shoot him once or twice until he gets close to you. Go up the steps, go back down. You got to kite those sons of bitches. You'll get it. Oh,
I was just gonna like level up my wizard because fireballs are awesome.
Wizards are pretty cool.
Yeah, until you reach that point where it's like, yep, this is it. This is how I die.
Very true.
I have a lot of fun watching some people play during streams. Sometimes they tweet me I'm streaming right now, and I have a lot of fun watching them getting cornered with a boss or something.
How many people have hit you up with like super pissed off messages of like, I got to the final boss and it killed me in one hit. You're a son of a bitch and I hope you die.
It used to happen a lot more. It used to happen a lot more because I don't know if you ever run into it, because it's super rare right now. So I used to have the final boss used to have this skill that it was called Death, and it would kill you after 20 or 30 turns.
Oh,
it was so you run into the final boss. He hits you with that spell. It was random, and you have a certain amount of turns to finish the game. So you have to kill him, find the key and the lantern, and finish the game. So I got a lot of angry emails about that because people felt frustrated because it was more of a time constraint than a strategical one.
Gotcha.
So,
speaking of ghosts, what am I supposed to do?
With what? The ghosts?
Yeah.
Is it a normal ghost or like the one that your previous self?
It's literally my previous warrior.
Kill him.
I can't. He's not. I've thrown fireballs. It's not doing anything.
Keep trying. What is it? You get a whole chunk of equipment that he was carrying when you died?
Yeah, everything he was carrying, he will drop it. But if he died too soon, it's just the initial equipment, so it won't do anything much good.
Well, it's something.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, you can sell it. Get
some money out of that. You could buy some health potions so that you don't die as quickly.
Yeah, it's just it's tough.
And the tougher your character is on the previous run, the harder it is to kill him because he keeps all the stats, all the buffs, all the
kidding.
Yeah, he keeps everything.
Oh yeah, it was kind of creepy when he actually went to my attack square, just like I was once like you. Blah!
Then I took an arrow to the knee.
Yeah, pretty much.
So after 2 years of releasing and talking about Quest of Dungeons, are you working on something new? Is there something going on with Upfall Studios, new titles, or maybe a sequel to this?
No, I'm starting to work on something new, not a sequel. I can tell you that it's not a sequel. I need some break from this game.
Dude, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It's too much. I mean, I love the game. I love the fact what I managed to accomplish with the game, and that people like it. But I need to work on something. I'm not saying it's gonna be super radical different, but I need to work on something new, like something with not a sequel right now. I'm working on something new.
Is it something you've been working on for a while, or is it still fairly new?
It's kind of still fairly new. I started working on something a while back during the ports, but it wasn't that great, so I ended up tossing it away. It wasn't fun. Like I guess I went to the it was a big idea, like something. I was trying to expand too much, and the core gameplay wasn't fun. So I had like this big scope idea for a bigger RPG game, but it wasn't fun to play. So I decided, no, I'm not doing this. So I made the Switch port, and now I'm deciding to go back to the roots and trying to make a smaller game, like something that's fun to play at its core, and then that I can expand according to the rules or whatever I come up with. Like what I did with Quest of Dungeons. I started at like something simple, like killing monsters and turn-based, and I grew up from that. I grew the game on top of that. So I'm trying to not take more steps than I can do. I don't know the proper expression. We have an expression in Portugal, but I don't know the correct one in English. So I'm trying not to do more than I can manage.
Oh, it's we use bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
Gotcha.
That's right. So because I'm just one person, so I'm trying to make a fun game, but yeah, it's not something that I've been working at during a long time. It's fairly new. I don't think I'll have anything to tease this year. Maybe next year, beginning of the next year, but I don't think this year I can.
What kind of game is it going to be, or did you want to kind of keep that under wraps still?
No, I'm still exploring the top-down genre. I like what you can do with it, but I want to go in a more real-time action sort of gameplay. Because Quest of Dungeons is turn-based, and it's fast to play, but it's turn-based, and that put a lot of limitations on what I can do.
Yeah.
So, for example, no co-op. It's not fun for this game. I tried it. It's not fun to wait for another player to do whatever they want to do. So I want to go in a more real-time approach. So let's see how that goes.
Makes sense.
It does, actually, yeah.
Do you know any platforms in mind that you're working to get it on?
I'm trying not to think about that. So it's first it's PC. So it's the easiest one that I can get on board, and then I can see if people like the game or not, and I can make it for consoles because there's a lot of cost involved, and I'll probably start with one of the ones that Quest of Dungeon had more traction with. So, for example, the Xbox version was very well received. I got a lot of people seem to like the game there. Now Switch as well. So one of those probably. Maybe it kind of depends on the style as well, because Quest of Dungeons is a pixel retro style, so people like to play it on 3DS. The Xbox back then didn't have that many games, that it was kind of different, so it stand out. I have to consider all of that before. I won't be able, even though I have Quest of Dungeons in all these platforms right now, I'm pretty sure that I won't be able to do, with the new game, I won't be able to make a release on all platforms right away. I have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, you know for a fact that if it comes to Xbox, we on SML will be very happy, because we love our Xboxes over here.
That they do. Well, it's because they won't kill you.
I'm starting to wonder, like, how many people even remember that story with my PS4.
Which one? Which one of the 6 didn't try to kill you?
Well, only the one actively tried to kill me. The others were
that's
just
fair.
the others just made me a sad human being.
That's fair.
Oh man.
Oh, good times.
So Wood, do you yourself have any questions for the game? I figure you're the other guest here. You could take a shot at if you got any questions to ask.
Well, I mean, my big thing is like more of like a stylistic thing, right? So I'm noted. So obviously, this is very retro, roguelike game, pixelated. Everything's pixelated, but the music is not chiptune. I was just wondering like why you went with that route for the music as opposed to trying to chiptune it out.
I don't think it wasn't working out. I tried it like at the very first beginning, before releasing the beta versions, but I don't know. I thought that a more modern music, so to speak, for the game would fare well instead of the chiptunes. I don't know. I liked it. It was just that I like those musics that ended up on the final game. So
as do I, because it's not like I think it does a much better job of like really emphasizing that this is actually really hard and really dark. And I think it does it like this is the first level. Like even the first level is just like pretty heavy. And I really appreciate that.
It's all about getting acclimated to how the game works,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was more of trying to get the atmosphere right. I don't think I could chiptunes. I think chiptunes works great when you want to make a action type, but for atmosphere, like an endless loop of musics, I don't know. Depends on the game, but
no, that makes perfect sense.
Basically, you got to get good. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know me, I'm all about getting good, or just collapsing in a depressive heap. But you know, whichever's funnier.
So how are you doing this time? Where are you right now?
I'm still on the first floor, but I am like really exploring this place. So I still haven't found like the quest yet. So I'm a little worried.
So I would imagine that as you're working on the different ports for the game, you're obviously play testing the game yourself and getting used to everything, making sure that everything's working right. Have you run into any issues where controls and control schemes across the platforms mess you up if you go back to a different platform?
It's
a weird question, so I'll give an example. Like, I've been playing the Switch version recently because that's the one that just came out. Having fun with that version. And now I'm, for the video on the stream right now, I'm playing the Xbox One version of the game, and the controls are backward compared to the Switch. Like on the Switch, the A button confirms everything, B backs out of things, where on the Xbox One, and I'm going to presume on the oh god, no, why did my TV switch?
Oh man, this is
thanks, Kinect. Thanks, Kinect. But on the it switched over to TV and like it just started playing through my headphones too. But on the other platforms, like the primary button to confirm things and to proceed with things is either the A or the cross button on the PS4 controller. So just the thumb positioning, like confirming everything on those platforms is the bottom button of the four. Where on Nintendo, it's the one on the right. And I have constantly found myself like trying to sell things or not sell things, but like exit out of menus, and instead I'm buying stuff in the store.
Yeah.
So does that mess with you at all while you're creating and testing the game?
It does. I keep messing up playing. If I spend like 2 or 3 days playing with a certain controller, when I go back, I have my the memory of my fingers are all messed up. It happens, yeah. But I had no choice. I had to. The control. I know what you're saying. So we get used to playing, for example, the right button or the bottom one for some stuff. But they have all that switched up. So you have the XY inverted on the Nintendo console and the AB as well. I ended up going with A for accept, B for cancel, but they're inverted, so.
I wish Nintendo would, play along with everyone else. Stop trying to be unique.
Actually, no, I actually have to disagree with you on that because they made the first one.
True, but when they made the first one, there were only 2 buttons.
No, you have wait. How was the layout for the Super Nintendo?
Well, that one did, but then there were, the Sega Genesis threw a 3rd button into the mix. Then they had 3 more to mess with everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just.
Yeah, but I know but I get what you're saying. Yeah. So the other ones have it on the bottom button, right? I think it's the bottom one. The cross and the A.
Yeah. To me,
I don't think they're ever gonna change that. So
to me, it just feels standard. Like the bottom button out of the 4 should be the confirm, and then the one on the right should be the back out or cancel.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's like, nah, man, we're doing
not
our own
doing
thing.
it. Yep. And it's weird. And I've seen some games. For example, I played the Xbox version, then I played the Nintendo version, and I've seen some games not using the A for accept and just going with the bottom one for whatever they were doing on the other platforms. And
they know what's up.
So they know okay, so this is the better layout for playing the game, and that can make sense on platform games. For example, I like to use the bottom one for jump. For example, it's better.
See, it makes sense that way. It makes more sense.
You have to email Nintendo too.
Nintendo, get your shit together.
Yeah, I'm sure Reggie will appreciate that.
Oh yeah, Reggie, he's so good at listening to the fans and what they want.
Oh man.
Yeah, you can do like that. I was watching the other day. This is totally unrelated, but I was watching Rick and Morty the other day, and they had that sketch where Rick is asking Nintendo to give him free stuff. That was so fun. That was really funny. I don't know if you guys watched it.
Oh, I love Rick and Morty.
It's I am way behind on my Rick and Morty, unfortunately. I just catch what's early morning on the Facebook, apparently, because that's now a platform for showing new content. Apparently, who knew?
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yep.
Yep. They gotta spread the word, so.
So, speaking of Nintendo, the SNES Classic is coming soon. Are you guys looking forward to that?
I don't know. It's well, because there was no way to get it out to where I'm at because I'm here in Germany. So
they're not going to have them over there.
Oh no, not in the U.S. stores. No way. Maybe in the German stores, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be getting a PAL version of it or not.
I don't know, man.
I'm confused. So you're not you can't get it there, or?
No, well, because it's like I can't really order online because like it's supplies are really low for the most part.
Yeah.
So okay. yeah. So I haven't actually like tried to think about like I should get one of those, and honestly, I'm trying to think about Nintendo. Oh no, that's right. Star Fox 2 should be coming out now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so that's the one game where I'm actually excited to get because like this is like the only official U.S. release, or no, only official release of wow, words work with Star Fox.
Star Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah,
words,
the first
they
time,
mean things.
It's releasing 20 years after they made it.
Yeah, it's 20 years after they finished it and said, nah, let's not release it.
Yeah.
Might as well.
I can't even imagine what went to those developers' heads.
It's got to be. Yeah, it's got to feel good to have worked on a game for so long and to finally have it coming out, though.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I can imagine that.
And learning it from social media, like they did.
How would you feel?
I'm getting one. I already ordered one because in Portugal it's usually easier to get most stuff that it's hard getting the other places.
Well,
Gotcha.
Wood, maybe he could help you get one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I don't know our store. I think there's a couple of stores that are still taking pre-orders here.
Oh, well, I'll have to double check and see what kind of version they get. It's because like as you know, I can't read German very well, so it's tough.
I think it's all in English, right? Probably only the box.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Probably only the box. And I actually asked that. So the PAL versions, all the ROMs are the 60 hertz from the American ones. So it's the PAL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
now I'm actually excited.
Yeah, look, I found a store that's still taking pre-orders here. I'll give you the link later.
Sounds good.
Oh, we got a match going on. Swinging back quick to quest the dungeons. Here's a question for you. On the one floor, there's enemies that steal items from you, and like 99% of the time they steal keys from me, and when I kill them, they don't drop the keys. Why do those sons of bitches just make the keys vanish?
Actually, that's a bit changed now, so they might not throw them away right away. So there's a chance that of killing them and getting all the stuff back.
Not on the Xbox version.
Not on the Xbox version. No. What I did was to. So right now, when they steal your stuff, if you take too much time, you start seeing. They'll start talking and saying, "I just destroyed the key. I just destroyed the chicken leg." So you're actively seeing them destroy your stuff, and you know it's your fault because you're not killing them fast enough.
Oh
so
man!
I only changed that for making the player aware of what's happening, because I think it was a bit frustrating to where's all my stuff. So now the game tells you I'm destroying your stuff.
See, most of the time I don't care because it's like a potion. Oh, well, I could get that back. Armor that's already outdated that I was going to sell, whatever. Gems that, I was clearly just going to sell. But when they steal keys, man, that hurts. Because you can't just get keys everywhere.
Or a book that you hadn't examined yet, that can happen.
So I guess what we're getting to is that the Xbox version needs an update.
To make it easier. To make it a bit easier.
You could make the thieves less of a dickhead on the Xbox version, and you could add Snake in.
And the Snake, yeah, I can see the headlines already.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Game gets patched with people will start asking for the Xbox One X update for 4K and the Snake game.
Have you considered like any kind of updates for Xbox One X or PS4 Pro, anything like that, to get true 4K pixel visuals? I honestly don't know if we could tell the difference. So I don't even have a 4K television, so I'm not sure. No, I'm not. Even if I update any version, I'm not going for the 4K. I don't think there's any gain for my game. No, not gonna happen.
No. Because the game is just most of the design is square based. It's retro, so sometimes you have that pixel art that's more organic, so scaling it up, having more detail helps. But in this case, most of the stuff is squares, so you're only gonna see the same squares but with more density.
But squarier, 4K squarier with HDR effects. HDR square pixels. We joke, but there's going to be people out there like clamoring for 4K updates to, like
Minecraft
retro.
Right?
Yeah, Minecraft is going 4K, and that's about as
4K Minecraft. Are you kidding me?
Nah, man, it's 4K. Got some like crazy lighting elements to it. Like,
and bloom effects and lens flares. It looks like a J.J. Abrams thing.
Yeah, fucking around, man.
Wow.
But it looks, we're joking, but I saw the different screenshots, like comparing old and new, and it looks good. So it's not something that this sucks, but it wasn't something that if people told me that like, without me seeing the screenshot, I was like, why? Why?
So I guess that leads to when are we going to see the 4K Quest of Dungeons Game of the Year Hall of Fame upgrade?
Bundle with all the Xbox One, that would be great. Bundling Quest of Dungeon with the Xbox box, every Xbox, like you buy it and it's there.
I mean, shit, the 360s used to have Hexic for free.
Yeah, it was, right? I forgot about that.
Well, hopefully someone paid for Hexic.
No, Hexic was free. The original Hexic was just built in to the original 360s.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like it's probably because they knew like the failure rate for those Xboxes were horrid.
That would be so funny if they realized that the system was bad beforehand. They're like, how are we going to counteract this? Give them a free game.
It's no, you joke, but like what is it? Watched a video about this. Someone actually did a post-mortem on that. About the whole fiasco, like why those Xboxes actually broke down at such a rate they did.
That is crazy.
Yeah. No, it was basically they were taking a giant play. It's like, oh, we're gonna beat Sony, and somehow through like a I mean, that's another story, but yeah, it's they knew they're shipping out a busted product.
Huh.
So it was a race to the console wars kind of thing.
It absolutely was.
That never ends well. Was it Sega Saturn or Dreamcast that made the same mistake?
The Saturn,
right? So they announced it and released it on the same day. Developers weren't even aware of that. So
Yeah.
what?
Oh god, that was genius. At E3, the Sega Saturn is coming, and you could get it right now. Huh?
What?
That's cool. So what are we gonna play on it?
See, it's cool when they do that for, games. It's like, hey, surprise, you can get this today. But when they, but when it's like, hey, you could get a brand new $400 console today, that's not as cool. I don't know. That's a tougher one to swallow.
It is, especially because there weren't any games practically. Wasn't that canceled Sonic prototype that never ended up being made?
Something crazy.
It was part of that launch, and then I read something. The postmortems are crazy. It's usually most of those failures are usually made by some suit guy trying to rush it for the holidays.
Oh yeah, it almost always is.
Oh, gotta love it. Oh, man. Well, I know we've been chatting for quite a while. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
Nope, I'm good. I gotta say, this game's a lot of fun. Like, I'm still enthralled with this so far. Apparently making it pretty far with the Wizard. Longer than the Assassin.
Well, I am definitely looking forward to see how far you get through the game when you do the review, which I'm sure we'll have on one of our upcoming episodes.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be sure to keep everyone updated when that is coming along. Oh, David, thank you so much for coming on the show again. It is always a pleasure having you on.
No, thanks for the invite. It was a pleasure. Hopefully it won't take 2 more years for the next time.
Whenever your next game is ready to go, let us know. Keep us updated because
absolutely.
You know I would be incredibly happy to get you back on to talk about whatever you're working on. And I'll keep my fingers crossed that it shows up on Xbox One as well.
Yeah, sure. I'll keep everyone posted on whatever the next game ends up being.
So in the meantime, where can people keep up to date with you?
So they can For the latest news, I talk a lot on Twitter, but for a more like professional, up to date, the blog on upfallstudios.com. So there's a blog there. I usually talk about the next release or ports or whatever is the latest. And there's so if they go to upfallstudios.com, there's a lot of links there to the social media, Twitter, Facebook, so they can track their favorite website there, and that's usually where I post. And there's all tons of stuff, information there.
Sounds good. Well, again, David, thank you for joining the show. Wood, thanks for hanging out and keeping me company for this. Dave, do you have any final words to end this episode of the show?
Let me see. I already thank you both. Thank you for the listeners for listening a second time. I hope, because I know my English isn't that great sometimes, but I hope everyone could understand everything I said, and I hope they decide to check it out, even if roguelikes isn't a thing they usually play.